All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. We are back with WSL action. We are going in to the final match week of the season. But before then, we've got to get through the small matter of Arsenal taking on Everton. This game, another of Arsenal's rearranged fixtures. They're the only side we've done WSL games for in the last 7 days. 3 Arsenal streams in that time frame, Harry, and now taking on Everton this evening. Not too much on the line for these two sides. Arsenal qualified for Champions League football already with their win over the weekend, but a victory would put them with almost undoubtedly second place in the WSL. As for Everton, if they fail to win tonight, they can't finish any higher than 8th, but they are still very much secure in that 8th place. So it's not a game with loads on the line this evening, Harry, but it should be interesting to see how this plays out nonetheless.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I think that Arsenal, as you say, will be keen to take that second place, not only for that automatic Champions League qualification, but to also, leapfrog Chelsea, finish runners-up. You want to finish best of the rest when you don't win the league. So Arsenal will want to make sure that they take the victory in this one. And Everton, as you say, it's all about focusing on next season now. Scott Phelan will want to prove that he's got what it takes to be the permanent manager going into next campaign, and players get an opportunity to impress and show that they've got the ability to be part of the squad next season. So they'll want to turn up at the Emirates and put on a good performance tonight. But as you say, Arsenal, will be hopeful of finishing second, but clear favourites in this one. Shouldn't have any problems. It's up to Everton to find something special.
Yeah, I guess for Everton, there's that chance they can finish ahead of London City. If they win this game, they go a point off London City. They play Leicester in the final match week, where that is a good opportunity for 3 points. So potentially they viewed it with that lens. But I think this is going to be a difficult game for Everton away at the Emirates. Arsenal's last game at the Emirates of the season, and Arsenal, for a lot of players in the Arsenal side, it's their last game at the Emirates ever. So it's going to be a bit of a night of celebration, and you think Arsenal would like to be able to do that with the backdrop of a victory rather than celebrating Beth Mead and the likes after a defeat. So, Arsenal will be keen to win today. We've said a lot recently that finishing second place, while it's somewhat insignificant right now, can have a bit of an impact going into next season. While Arsenal did go through the qualifiers in their Champions League winning run, you'd think it would make next season a little bit easier if they don't have to go through the qualifiers.
Yeah, exactly that. No club wants to go through qualifiers. I think that they can be quite a nice way sometimes to warm up into the season, but with the fixture congestion that loads of clubs experience right now, and of course there's no guarantee you get through them. So if you can avoid the jeopardy of the qualifiers, then happy days. You say Arsenal, they've come through them and gone on to win it. They've also been knocked out in the qualifiers. So winning tonight puts them in pole position to take second place, can avoid all the playoff drama next season in the Champions League, have a much smoother start to the season, and it sets them up nicely. It takes 3 sets of 90 minutes out of the legs, which overall is more important. So this is an opportunity to kind of set them both sides, really. I think they will be looking more towards the consequences of next season if they can produce something today.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think it's the case for most teams going into this weekend. There isn't too much to play for on Saturday at this point in the WSL season, but regardless, there is still pride on the line this evening. So let's take a look at the sides to contest this game at the Emirates Stadium. We'll start, of course, with the hosts Arsenal, a 4-2-3-1 with slight rotation for the Gunners tonight. In goal, it's Annika Borba. Their constant rotation of goalkeepers falls on Annika Borba today. In the back four, it's Fox, Moy, Kadina and McCabe, sticking with the same centre-half partnership as they did against Aston Villa and Brighton. In the midfield, it's a pivot of Caldente alongside Victoria Palova, with Kim Little finally getting a rest. On one wing, it's Smith. On the other, Beth Mead returning to the starting lineup. Marnham in the 10, and Alessia Russo leads the line. Let's talk about some of those pairings and those combinations in there, and start with the front pair, because we've started to see recently a bit of a relationship developing between Frida Marnham and Alessia Russo.
Yeah, I think the last couple of games have been very promising since Marnham returned to the side. Russo playing as that 9, and of course they linked up brilliantly in both the Brighton and the Villa games. Marnham getting the equaliser against Brighton after a nice flick on from Russo, and then again combining in the Aston Villa game, and that's important for Arsenal. I think that to see that combination start to develop, Frida Marnham especially is a player that I think has had some great moments, but has also had some really difficult patches, but seems to be ending the season in quite good form. And as you say, if that partnership can now start to develop and get stronger between her and Russo going into next season, then suddenly that could be a pretty forceful front two to put up with. So positives for Arsenal, especially Marnham, and in the last couple of games, they've both been pretty key in getting results across the line.
Do you think there's any chance she's played herself back into the contention for the squad next season? We've seen Arsenal linked with the likes of Geraldine Reuteler, but Frida Marnham has been in better form recently. 60% of her goal contributions for Arsenal this season have come in the last 3 games, which is a fairly remarkable statistic. But has she done enough then to I guess, convince Arsenal to keep her rather than looking at other options in that position?
There's a conversation to be had now, which I think is a better situation for Marnham than it was a few weeks ago, where she wasn't really playing. We were seeing Blackstenius lead the line with Russo in the 10, and Marnham couldn't really get a shoe in. But has had a really good run of form, and that's all she can do at the end of the day. She's got to control what she can control. She's been given the opportunities in the last couple of games to start. She's taken those chances. Starts again tonight. All she can keep doing really is delivering strong performances, and as a player, if you're in brilliant form, then it's very hard for any manager to move you on or to not start you.
Yeah, I guess it's a question we can throw to the live chat as well. If you're watching along to the stream, get involved in the live chat. Let us know. Do you think Frida Marnham should be part of the Arsenal squad next season? Let us know in the live chat. The other area to touch on, that centre-half partnership then, does feel like Arsenal are kind of giving run-outs here at the Emirates Stadium for the players that are departing. Kadina keeping her spot, Palova coming into midfield, Beth Mead starting as well. That centre-back partnership did do better against Aston Villa, but we saw in the Brighton game where those issues can still lie, and perhaps why Arsenal are moving Leah Kadina on this summer.
Yeah, exactly that. I think, as you say, Kadina, of course, has been a decent servant and has been, delivered decently when called upon. But I think this season that has shifted a little bit, and the performances aren't quite there, especially for that elite level. But it's an opportunity tonight for her to get a nice send off in front of the Emirates. And as you say, I think that this partnership is something that Slegers has had to use and as using the last couple of games with players showing from injury, and Steph Catley still missing as well. But understandably, we're not going to see it next season. And I don't think it's quite the level that Arsenal are looking for from rotation options.
Yeah, and well, on the topic of players departing then, Palova and Beth Mead both leaving. Obviously, 2 players with very different careers at Arsenal. One of their biggest players in Beth Mead over the last sort of decade. The other in Victoria Palova, a player that had so much promise, but her career's kind of been derailed with injuries. Let's talk about Palova, because I think a player that there is still a bit of promise there, and you think if she goes to another environment where there's more minutes available, she could shine there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that on her day she can be a top player, and in certain systems I think that she can deliver some class performances, but it just hasn't materialised at Arsenal, and it's a shame because we know she can be a top player. So yeah, absolutely. I can see Palova moving on to a different club and shining and putting in some good performances. That if she's going to get the opportunities to feature, but just hasn't materialised at Arsenal. It's it happens at elite clubs when you pick up an injury and you're out of selection for the manager. When you come back, it's difficult sometimes for the coach to then bring you back in because you're already out of favour, to bring you back in when other players are playing well. So yeah, it just hasn't worked out, but I still think Palova is a top player, and it'll be a nice opportunity for her to get a run out tonight.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting as well to see where she goes in the summer, and the same with Beth Mead. Strong links to Manchester City, and Arsenal saying goodbye to a legend. Probably the right time, if anything, a year too late to move her on, but I mean, if she goes to Manchester City, then that's fascinating. But that's something to talk about another time. Let's take a look at the side of the visitors this evening. In goal, Courtney Brosnan is between the sticks. A back four then of Blundell, Mace, Fernandez and Maz Pacheco. In the midfield, it's a pivot of Wheeler alongside Hayashi. On one wing, it's Payne. On the other, it's Kitagawa. In the 10 role, Kramjar. And leading the line, Katja Snois. Now Snois and Payne could be the other way round in that, but Everton, it's been an interesting second half of the season with Phelan coming into side. They had a really good run of form. Last 3 matches have been a horrible run of fixtures with Manchester United, Liverpool and Chelsea. Now they're going to this Arsenal game on a bit of a downwards trajectory. The season's over for all intents and purposes for them, but it'd be great for I guess the confidence going into next season if they could end this campaign with a few results.
Yeah, exactly that. They want to end in style. They want to get as many points on the board as possible. And as I say, from an individual point of view, if you're a player that's had a bad season, or if you're a squad player in this Everton squad and you've got the opportunity tonight, you want to take it and prove that you can play a part in the team next season. So yeah, it's another opportunity for players to prove they've got what it takes, especially against a side like Arsenal. For Phelan as well, it's another opportunity for him to show that he can deliver performances against the big clubs in the league. So yeah, a bit more defensive today. They're going to try and shut Arsenal out, and it'll be a good job for them if they can keep it respectable and keep themselves in the game.
Yeah, it's not really been a season that's gone to plan for Everton. The start of the campaign, they spent a fair amount of money in the transfer market, made some big deals, and obviously moved into Goodison Park. And there's a feel-good factor about Everton, about them trying to challenge the existing powers, but it's not really materialised this season. And it feels like as we go into the summer and go into 26, 27, we don't really know where Everton sit now. Are they a side who will be in a little bit of trouble next season? Will they have a similar level of investment and will it actually work next campaign? I feel like we don't really know.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that they are one of those very unpredictable clubs in that mid pack where next season they could be right on the money or they could be one of the ones that are struggling towards the bottom. We'll have to wait and see, but it's games like these that can differentiate. Leicester were absolutely smashed at the Emirates last week or a couple weeks ago. So can Everton come out tonight, put on a better performance, and show they can compete, or they can give sides like Arsenal a good game? They're the levels they can have. Leicester would trounce 7-0. Everton need to turn up and show they can have a better, smaller margin of defeat if they do go on to lose today and put up a better resolve. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect from Everton. I haven't really known what to expect from Everton in any game this season. I have no idea what they're going to look like next season.
Well, exactly, and I think we look at this game now with Everton, and it makes it very difficult to predict this evening's result. They've had some good results against big clubs where they beat Chelsea 1-0 earlier in the season. They were narrowly beaten by Manchester United a few weeks ago, but then they were also beaten quite heavily by Chelsea in their last match. They were also beaten quite heavily earlier in the season by Manchester City. And the Arsenal game was a fascinating one as well. So, yeah, really don't know what to expect from Everton tonight. And with that said, let's dive into our predictions ahead of this one. Both sets of players heading out onto the field. If you are watching on the show, let us know your scoreline prediction. But we're going to kick things off here in the studio. And as always, Harry, we'll start with yourself. Arsenal hosting Everton at the Emirates Stadium. What is your prediction?
I'm going to say the Gunners to end the season in style at home with a win. I think they've got too much quality for Everton to be able to keep out this evening. And I think that, as I say, last home game of the campaign, they'll want to end on a high note. I will go 3-0 Arsenal, and I will say Freedom Arnhem to get on the score sheet once again. A goal from Alessia Russo, because she's been in really good touch to end the season. And then I will say a third from Beth Mead. I feel like she's got to score tonight. Last home game for Arsenal, and she'll want to sign off at the Emirates with, by getting her name on the score sheet. And I think that would be very, a nice moment for her.
Yeah, fair enough. I think this game, I really don't know how to predict this game, but I think it will be similar to the game at Goodison Park, which was very frantic, very open. I do think not starting Kelly Gargo does weaken Everton this evening. I think that would have given them something that could really hurt Arsenal. But yeah, I think they'll be a tricky side. I think they've got some transitional threat, and I think Arsenal can be exposed defensively at times. So I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal. As much as I want to go for a draw and for them to challenge United for the most draws this season, Arsenal on 6 draws this campaign, only Manchester United with 7 have more. I just think they will find a way eventually. I don't think it's Everton's side to play particularly well, and so I think they will find a way to win this game. Arsenal, I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to go for an early Arsenal goal through Alessia Russo, been in great form recently. Always seems to end the seasons incredibly strong. I then think Everton will peg them back through Kramjar. I could see a bit of a screamer, similar to the Mamiki goal against Chelsea a couple weeks ago. And then the same sort of capitulation from Everton, where they cling on, they get a goal against the run of play, and then they completely fall apart. Yeah. And I think Arsenal will be able to score that goal. And as always with Arsenal, probably should kick on and score a couple more. But I think Everton will just about do enough. Courtney Brosnan with a big game. And it'll only be a 2-1 win for Arsenal. Also, that second goal scored to be Stina Blacksenius from the bench. I seem to always predict Stina Blacksenius to score from the bench, but she does have a good knack of getting involved in games. Well, North London forever blaring round the Emirates Stadium. So that means we are about to get underway here at the Emirates. Couple predictions coming in. Hermie saying 3-2 Arsenal. One hell of a game that would be. Frederick saying 2 or 3-0 to Arsenal. That's not a prediction. That's sitting on the fence. We're not having that, Frederick. Jennifer says 3-1 Arsenal. Russo again. They'll still be a bit fatigued. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see again Arsenal. I mean, we saw against Brighton that fatigue having a big impact. Everton get us underway in this game, though. Pass knocked all the way back to Courtney Brasselan. And what can Everton do? Can they upset Arsenal in this game? As Olivia Smith's able to pick up on that loose ball, and now Arsenal trying to come the other way. Fox looks down the line. Finds Beth Mead. Space to work with here for Beth Mead. Tries the pass inside, but Mace, as she always does, stepping up aggressively, making the challenge. It is out for an Arsenal throw. And that's going to be important tonight for Everton, is going to be their defence's ability to read what Arsenal are doing. We've seen recently with Brighton and Aston Villa, Brighton were able to jump up and put pressure on Arsenal, but they still came undone. Aston Villa too often stepped off Arsenal, and therefore they found more space to work with. And a bit of a mess there between the Arsenal defenders, with Moyes smashing the ball out of play, catching Fox on the way through, and that's out for an Everton throw.
Yeah, they want to settle down Arsenal. I think that they did well in the... They've had a real knack this season. If they start well, they never, they don't seem to look back. You look at the Leicester game a couple of weeks ago. They got on top from minute one and never looked back. Never looked like being under any threat. But then there's other games where the loss to Brighton in the FA Cup, where they got put under pressure in the first minute and never reacted to that. So they'll want to get on top quickly here and kind of try and get an early goal and shut out any hope of Everton getting something from this game.
Cadena out to the left-hand side with McCabe, who tries to play inside. Caldente, now to Marnham, trying to feed through the lines, and it's blocked well by Wheeler. And now they'll come the other way. Here's Snoyce. Needs support and plays it wide to Payne. Payne holding the width well. McCabe stands her up, plays it back down the line to Snoyce, and that is poor from Tony Payne. Snoyce is miles offside in that position and leaves it to go for an Arsenal goal kick.
I'm not sure what was worse, the decision to pass it to Snoyce, who was clearly in an offside position, or the fact that she still got the pass wrong.
Yeah. Either way, not brilliant there from Tony Payne. Arsenal building out from the back. Here's Annika Borba. Needing an option here as Arsenal try and build out. Plays across to Cadena. Cadena knocks it wide to McCabe. Who's going to feed it through now to Marnham, who works brilliantly in that half space. Mace does pull her back in there and would be lucky to get away without a card here. It is early in the game though, and I think we'll be able to get away with that one.
Yeah, and that's where the problem's going to come for Everton. Is Mace does want to step up, and a couple of times she's already won it off Marnham, but if Frida Marnham gets the better of her, it's going to leave Everton very vulnerable.
To be fair, I don't think she needs to pull her back there. Marnham is carrying the ball forwards, but there's not many options around her, and Everton do have numbers back, but Mace just panicking. Arsenal going backwards with a free kick anyway. McCabe's going to go direct in behind to Russo, who brings it down well. Here's Mead. Can she get the shot away? And that's a poor pass from Beth Mead. It's going to fall to Palova, though. And now to Smith, sorry. Ball in towards the back post, looking for Fox. It's headed away well by Kitagawa. And Payne tries to clear. Here's Palova. McCabe. Here's Caldente. Down the line to Katie McCabe. Lifted into the area and Mace heading clear. And now Cramjar picks up on the loose ball and trying to find a forward pass. But it won't quite find a teammate.
Yeah, again, Mace on hand to deal with the ball coming into the box. But good stuff from Arsenal.
Mead now holding the width again. Fox has gone inside and Mead trying to find her down the line. It's a poor pass though. Now picked off by Hikaru Kitagawa, who can't quite hold on to that ball. Not sure what Kitagawa tried to do there. But either way, it's an Arsenal throw-in. Fox. Palova comes short for the option. Fox. Back now to Lotta Wubben-Moy. And now Cadena. Drills a pass out to the left-hand side. Smith. Wants to dart inside. It's brilliant from Olivia Smith. She is forced backwards, though, by Wheeler. Now Wubben-Moy. And Fox on the right-hand side. Wants to run at Pacheco. Looks to take it down the line. It's blocked. And Kitagawa smashing the ball clear. And Cadena here in a little bit of trouble up against Cramjar. Borba comes to rescue possession. And Arsenal hold on to the ball. Borba. Quite far out from her goal here, Annika Borba, but comfortable with the ball at her feet. Here is Ruben Moy and back to Annika Borba. And now Cadena rolling it into Caldente, who's able to drop off of Snoyce into Palova. And now across to Katie McCabe, and there's space for her to play it down the line. Here's Smith, isolated up against Blundell. Smith looks to come inside. Blundell, though, forcing her backwards. And now McCabe. Cadena into Smith, bounces it to Caldente. Can she create an opportunity? Forced backwards instead, though. Cadena. And Russo drops off to receive. Everton do well to force her backwards, but Arsenal still in possession. McCabe lifts it in there. Not a bad ball looking for Marnham. Fernandez heads only as far as Russo, but her shot, well, clear of the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, these balls out wide from McCabe are quite dangerous, and Everton are doing well to head the initial ball clear, but it's the second ball that is falling to Arsenal every time, and it's actually good from Katja Snoyce, who comes running back to just put Russo off almost, makes her kind of snatch at it a little bit, and that goes sailing over the bar.
Yeah, indeed. And so, Everton can build out from this position. Mace across to Brosnan. Happy to wait on the ball here, Courtney Brosnan, and wait for the Arsenal press. Here's Fernandez. And Everton progress down the left-hand side. Fernandez carrying well and plays it forward into Wheeler, who faces a physical battle up against Caldente. Does well to struggle her way through. Here's Pacheco. And Beth Mead getting back in and making the tackle. And Fox now go all the way back to her goalkeeper, Borba. Can she find a forward option? Annika Borba look to lift it out. Thinks better of it, though. And now here's Wuba Moy. Mead in the pocket. Finds Marnham, who's dispossessed there. It's brilliant work from Hayashi. It's a poor pass from Fernandez, and Arsenal now with Akers to drive into. Mariona Caldente tries to play the pass wide. Smith's got to get wider there. Too tight to her fullback. And is able to make the interception there, Blundell.
Yeah, Blundell does well to jump forwards and get there. But as you say, Smith has got to get to further, a lot closer to that touchline. Make it more difficult for Blundell to manage both options.
Great switch to the play from Katie McCabe. Here is Fox, who comes inside with the ball. Now Palova, Fox. And now Beth Mead. It does feel like a lot of the things that Arsenal are trying to do in possession aren't suited to the squad they've got. And maybe that's something that will be addressed in the transfer market, and next season the squad will be a bit better suited to what they're trying to do. But on both sides tonight, you've got fullbacks who are quite comfortable overlapping and wingers who are good going inside, and yet the fullbacks are tucking in and the wingers are holding the width.
Yeah.
And it feels like in both of those positions then you're not getting the best out of those players. Wheeler plays it into Kitagara, who's going to look to clip it up the line, and Kramjar up against Cadena in the foot race. Cadena doesn't have to get there. And now Borba, it's a poor pass looking for McCabe, and it's going to get picked up here by Tony Payne. Arsenal just switching off for the moment. Payne, ball into the area. Snoyce tries to bring it down. Palova, though, is able to be physical enough. And that was a bizarre sequence for Arsenal. Sloppy playing out from the back, and Everton really should have punished.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there. It was the overhit pass, but McCabe didn't seem to react to it.
Marnham carrying it forward, somehow holds on to the ball in there. Russo back now to Mead. He's got a bit of space. The touch is heavy, and the shot is worse. And I'm not sure why Beth Mead has so many complaints there. Maybe the replay will show otherwise, but it looked just like a poor shot.
Yeah, they broke away really well, and that's what Everton have got to be careful of. Is they overcommitted and left plenty of space for Arsenal.
Fair, I'm not even sure. Everton have got 5 players here against Arsenal's 2. They should deal better.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, they looked so open, but yeah, it didn't look to take a touch off Fernandez on the way through there. Just seemed to be dragged wide by Beth Mead. We'll get a better look with this angle, but just looked like she scuffed the shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that takes a touch off anyone. I mean, the angle there was pretty awful. You couldn't actually see the bottom of Fernandez's boot, but based on the trajectory, don't think it took a touch off anyone. Kramjar. Hayashi wide now into Kitagawa, who's going to go down the line. Pacheco here making the run. Can she find an option in the box? Fox gets back in and makes the recovery tackle. Brilliant work from Emily Fox. A tangle of legs between her and Pacheco. Pacheco keeping her penned in the corner, though. And Fox needs the support now of Wubben-Moy. Mead dropping in and plays it round the corner well into Fox. Fox inside now to Caldente, who's got acres to drive into again here, Mariona Caldente. Wanting to force that ball wide, does delay, now finds Smith, and her touch takes her too close to Blundell. There's a miscommunication there between Payne and Blundell. That's so poor. Now Caldente. Can Arsenal take advantage? Mead. Caldente, Mead. Everton couldn't be narrower right now, and Arsenal are still not using the width. Finally, here's McKay out wide on the left-hand side. Good pass from Cadena to pick her out. Payne gets out there now and trying to block the cross. The low ball is played in and it is smashed away by Ruby Mace.
Yeah, they're getting joy from picking out McCabe, who's put a couple of good deliveries in. That time, though, just held on for it too long. That ball's got to go out to her and then touch and deliver. But, took 2 touches, allowed Payne to get out there, and, it shortened the angle, and the cross ended up being a pretty poor one. It's just things like that which have got to be quicker for Arsenal. It's got to be sharper.
Yeah, I think the problem is at the moment is that Arsenal are moving the ball quite slowly, and it's allowing Everton to get back into their shape. The moments where Arsenal move it quickly and are breaking, Everton look all over the place.
Yeah.
But when you slow the ball down, they're just going to drop into this. I mean, it's so narrow. They could reach out and hold hands, the defenders. It's ridiculous how narrow it is, but they're happy to do that. Let Arsenal move the ball quite slowly, eventually realise there's space out wide. And then when they do play it wide, Everton are happy to invite the ball into the box.
Yeah.
Because they trust Ruby Mace and they trust Fernandez to be able to beat Russo in the air. Here is Blundell into Wheeler. Back across now to Fernandez. Mace. Wanting to hit a long pass. Nothing available. Wheeler now drops into receive and plays it wide to Blundell. And back now to Ruby Mace. He's going to step forwards with possession. Tries to play it through the lines. It's picked off. She does get back in though. Steps up brilliantly. And is assertive as she knocks Smith off the ball. Pass across now to Martina Fernandez.
I think Everton will be very happy with the first 12 minutes here. Arsenal having all the ball, but haven't threatened Brosnan whatsoever. I mean, that Mead effort, the Russo one, a couple of off-target shots, not a problem at all if you're of an Everton persuasion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're both chances that I think those players should be doing better with. Should be testing Brosnan from that kind of range, but yeah, I agree. Everton will be fairly happy. I mean, it does look a bit like we're going back to Brian Sorensen football because no one's here as Everton are trying to build up.
Yeah.
There's just no Everton players. And Brosnan will now lift out to the right-hand side and they've created a bit of space here, but it's picked off by McCabe, and Arsenal now can use that space. McCabe trying to come down the line. That's a great tackle again from Ruby Mace.
It does feel at times for Everton that it's a bit Ruby Mace and a dream. Because they've tried
Only at times. So far in this game, they keep giving it to Mace and just hoping she's going to magically move the ball to their strikers, who are miles away.
Yeah, just a bit messy. They drew Arsenal in well, but the pass from Brosnan wasn't good enough, and Mace bailing them out with another great tackle.
Here's Palova. Now, Cadena. Trying to lift the ball out to the right-hand side. Fox. And it's picked up by Fernandez, who makes a bit of a mess of clearing it, but they do get away with it. Pacheco. Now to Wheeler, who's going to try and carry this ball into midfield, and does so successfully. Fernandez into Kramjar, who is bundled down there. It's Katja bundled down in there. And Arsenal win back the ball. Cadena. Caldente into Palova, and that was too easy for Arsenal's midfield pair to play out, trying to go out to the left-hand side, but Smith can't quite get there.
Yeah, again.
It hasn't been the best advertisement for the WSL this first 13 minutes, I have to say.
No, it feels like Arsenal know what they need to do, but they're just not executing it. I mean, it's not. I don't think that's a terrible pass from Palova out to Smith, and she just miscontrols it. A minute ago, Cadena played a lovely lofted ball to Fox, who then got the 5-yard pass into Marnham wrong. Just struggling to execute in wide areas at the moment.
It does look like a postseason kind of game where there's not much on the line now for either side, and these teams are physically done. Particularly Arsenal look physically done and are just kind of getting through the games. They know they've got Champions League football now. They're not too worried whether it's second or third. They expect that with the players have got out there, eventually they'll find a goal and win this game, and all but confirm getting second place anyway. So they are just kind of playing at half pace at the moment. It has looked incredibly sloppy as, again, McCabe makes the mistake. Here's Pacheco. Tries to play it backwards there. It's the wrong decision. Arsenal win the ball. Here's Alessio Russo. Passes on to Marnham. Mace comes across. Can't quite get there. But the Marnham ball across the box is cut out. Fox stepping up well and jumps in front of it. Now it's with Marnham, who tries to turn. Pacheco, though, doesn't have to force her back. And now here is Palova. Can Palova make something happen here? Happy to carry inside. Brilliant stuff from Palova. Wide into Fox, who puts the weak foot ball in. It's a great header from Mead, off the bar. And Brosnan able to grab the scraps.
Yeah, finally. A really nice ball in from a wide area. Mead does well to just flick it goalwards and is unlucky. Just crashing off the underside of the bar and bouncing free. Brosnan was rooted. But it's a really nice ball into the box from Fox. Great. That is a superb delivery on her weak foot. Picks out Mead. He does well to head it on target, but just gets a bit unlucky. And Brosnan just stood there and all she do is watch.
So unfortunate, Beth Mead. As that shot just hit the crossbar, Martina Fernandez just didn't anticipate it at all. Lovely football from Everton down the down the left hand side, looking for Kitagawa. One back though by Emily Fox, who plays it wide into Mead. Now Fox. Mead's popping up in all the right areas though. I think the execution hasn't quite been there yet, but is causing Everton issues. Just dropping into the pockets. And just popping up in positions where she can really threaten. Caldente into Palova. That's a lovely driven ball out into Emily Fox. Fox playing it back into Lotte Wubben-Moy. And now Cadena. Caldente finds the pass wide into McKay. Thought about the early cross. Plays it back inside. And a bit of miscommunication there between Smith and Caldente, but Arsenal do keep possession. Caldente. Smith. Back to Mariona Caldente. Now it's with Olivia Smith. It goes to McKay. Back to Cadena. Now Palova. Wubben-Moy. Into Beth Mead. Fox. Wubben-Moy stepping up well. Okay, Tagawa comes across, makes the challenge, and does do well there to win a side of throw-in. Arsenal's style, and I think we've said this a lot this season, it feels very much like tiki-taka. And a lot of people think of tiki-taka and think of Guardiola football, but actually that was a bit of an evolution of tiki-taka. Tiki-taka is the idea of just keeping hold of the ball at all costs, and actually you don't create enough chances in that. And we're seeing that with Arsenal. It's just too cautious often. And I think eventually they're going to find a breakthrough here, right? Because Everton are really deep in the field and their defending has been quite poor so far. But Arsenal are just not proactive enough. They're not taking risks in attacking areas.
Yeah, and I think that
Marnham through to Russo. Nice football. Plays the ball across the goal. Not a bad shot, but unable to find the target. I think the offside flag has gone up as well.
Yeah, just went a bit early there, Russo, and snatched at it from a tight angle, which is neither of the things you want as a number 9. Yeah, just drifted to be fair, she was tighter than I thought it was, but just...
I mean, to be fair, I think the sleeve's actually in line with Martina Fernandez's sleeve there. Yeah. Just a little bit unlucky for Alessio Russo, but didn't find the target anyway. So no real impact. I think Brosnan get a touch of that.
Potentially, but yeah, dragged it wide. But yeah, and I don't think there's any harm in playing like this against bigger sides where you just you are a bit more cautious. You hold on to the ball, and while you don't have many chances yourself, you limit the opposition. But you're playing Everton, who have been really poor defensively at points this season. You've got to go for the game. You've got to be aggressive.
But I don't think Arsenal have that. That's the other weird thing is that Arsenal have got a game set up to play those big matches where they play the 4-4-2 and they're very narrow, very compact, and look to be quite counter-attacking. But they don't really have a set up to play against the weaker teams. They feel like a Brighton, but with the player quality to get them through these kind of games.
Yeah.
where they're able to set up really well, and Slegers are able to set up really well against the big teams in the league and really minimise their strengths and take advantage of their weaknesses. But in normal games, they don't really have their own setup. Here's Russo trying to drive it forwards. Can she squeeze a shot towards goal? Brosnan saves it. It spills out and Fernandez clears it away. But that was another messy moment from Everton at the back.
I'm not sure if any Everton player knew what was going on there. It was a really poor pass initially across from Blundell, who just gifts it to Alessia Russo, who does well to skip past Fernandez. Thought she was going to draw the foul. The shot isn't bad. Brosnan, I think, gets a bit fortunate. I'm not sure how much she knows about this save. She goes to pick it up, goes through her hands and hits both her calves and falls nicely for Fernandez to clear. Did take a nick off Mace, which maybe put Brosnan off a bit, but massive let-off for Everton. And once again, they're nearly the architects of their own downfall, like they have been so many times this season.
Their build-up is awful.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we saw under Brian Sorensen. They got some big results under Phelan, but watching them so far this evening, of course, they're playing against Arsenal, and that has to be mitigated. Arsenal, one of the best pressing teams in the league. Here's Pacheco, managed to knock it on wide to Kramjar. What can they create here? Kramjar, short on options really, tries to force the ball forwards. It's not going to come to anything as Arsenal recover possession. But they look all over the place. They're built, as you say, architects are own downfall. They just keep giving the ball back to Arsenal in build-up. Because they've got a back four and a flat back four and a flat midfield too.
Mm.
And players keep trying to sort of carry the ball in the hopes they're going to find some space and make something happen. But it doesn't feel like they've got an idea of the kind of patterns or passages they're going to play. Offside flag again there against an Arsenal player, Olivia Smith this time. And a bit of a lazy offside, just drifted into an offside position.
Yeah, again, made that run too tight to Blundell, and you can see Karen says, "I'm not going to give it to you because you're not wide enough." And then just runs beyond, doesn't get back on side, and then the ball comes to her in an offside position. But yeah, Olivia Smith is just too tight to Blundell at the moment. Needs to get wider because at the moment she's just not an option.
Well, this is the problem. She's not a fit for what Arsenal want from that winger.
Mm.
Olivia Smith is great at cutting inside and getting into that sort of half space. So that's where she's trying to occupy tonight. But Arsenal aren't encouraging their fullback to go and overlap. They want Smith to go and play in that wide position and allow the fullback to come into the half space. So again, it just feels like it's a bit of a clash of the player profile against what the system wants. With Moy hit, does well to hold on to the ball. Kramjar then committing the foul. I'm not sure there's much wrong with what Kramjar did there. Just a bit of a nudge in the back. Fernandez. Now to Brosnan. And across to Fernandez. And Wheeler robbed the possession. Good pressure from Caldente. Mead finds Olivia Smith. Can she get the shot away here, Smith? Delays, waiting for a teammate, and goes backwards now to Cadena. Here's Ruben Moy. Now Caldente. Into Mead. Caldente. Now to Lotta Ruben Moy. It's Beth Mead again here in this central position. Knocks it wide into Fox. Caldente. Through the lines to Beth Mead. It's knocked wide again to Fox. And now Caldente. Fox. Caldente. Inside to Mead. Palova. Lovely footwork from Victoria Palova. Mariana Caldente. Now to Ruben Moy. And it's a switch the play that finds McCabe. McCabe back to Cadena. Wide again to Smith. McCabe. Thinking about the cross. Plays it into Palova instead. And now back wide into Cadena. Down the line into Olivia Smith. Ball through the lines to Cadena. From Cadena into Russo. Wide now to Smith. Cutting inside. This looks dangerous for Olivia Smith. It's good from Wheeler. And she gets a little unlucky there. Because I think Olivia Smith does well to buy this free kick.
Yeah, I think that it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of clumsy fullback play with a bit of a smart play from Smith. Yeah, I think
blunder. It's naive to leave your foot in there. Olivia Smith There's not much contact at all, is there? But Olivia Smith's a very, very smart player.
Yeah, there's enough. Smith's always going to go down on that. Blundell. Smith just knocked the ball away from him. Blundell just swung a leg, which is, clumsy. And a little bit amateur for a player with the experience of Blundell, and it presents Arsenal with a very good opportunity from this dead ball situation.
Yeah, they haven't got the best record from set pieces this season, Arsenal. It feels like we've been saying that for a few weeks now, but 3 goals this campaign from set pieces. That's 5 times less than City. Can they do anything for this? No. Is the simple answer to that one. McCabe rolls it, Mead strikes it. And, well, we won't repeat what she's just quite blatantly mouthed on the broadcast. Not happy with herself on that one.
I mean, fair enough. That is a poor effort. That is, there's well over, and then there's that.
Yeah, maybe when she leaves Arsenal, she'll be considered for a rugby team, because that would have been, I don't know what the score, how you score in rugby, but I think that's a point. Brosnan sends it forward. Header won by Palova. Pacheco now trying to bring it down, but it's one back in there by Wubben-Moy, who pokes it forwards looking for Rousseau. Mace comes across, and Everton back in possession. Brosnan back to Ruby Mace. And again, Everton don't really know what they're doing now on the ball. Mace. Here's Kitagawa, going to go down the line. That's better from Hikaru Kitagawa and better from Everton. Inside now for Wheeler. Wheeler searching for an option. Arsenal players just stepping off her, and Claire Wheeler punts it down the line.
Arsenal would genuinely be better off just smashing the ball to Brosnan every time they get it. Because Arsenal are really strong out of possession, and Everton don't have a clue what they're doing on the ball in their own third.
They just don't look like they understand what each other are going to do in terms of movement. They press and they win the ball high here, and Borba's off her line, and Wheeler looks to dink her just over the bar. Big mistake from Arsenal playing out, and that really should be 1-0 Everton.
Wow, Wheeler will be so frustrated. It's not a bad effort from range. It's a really poor pass from Wubben-Moy. Gifts it to Claire Wheeler, and with Borba miles off her line, I think Claire Wheeler's got to do better. It just skims the roof of the net, puts a bit too much on it. But what a mess. And again, Arsenal playing out from the goal kick have messed it up.
Payne breaks into the box and loses possession. Stepped up well by Blundell and stops Smith, but Smith fights to win it back. Palova now looking to lift it forwards. Fernandez heading it away. And here's Kitagawa through the legs of Mead, who I think is a little lucky to get the free kick there. Jumps in front of Kitagawa. And ref deems it as a foul.
Yeah, just clumsy from both, really. But, I mean, this has been a car crash for both sides.
And that's a yellow card for Kitagawa.
Don't think it went to her. I think it's gone to someone else for complaining.
I mean, again, the broadcast not showing us anything there apart from the referee unveiling the yellow card. And Arsenal back in possession. Phil, welcome to the streams this evening all. And Breck says, Justin, there won't be an aerial fantasy next year. Anything else you guys will be competing on? Well, very exciting news. The reason there isn't an aerial fantasy is that the WSL are releasing their own fantasy game. We're still waiting to see the details on that. They're putting out a lot of forms at the moment to ask for community feedback, which I think is really good. But, yeah, it's, hopefully going to be a very good game. So, still not sure who the yellow card went to, but Everton now breaking into the penalty area. Payne puts the ball across the box, but no one in there in Everton's shirt.
Yeah, card went to Karamjar, kicking the ball away twice. Which is, silly, really.
Yeah. Here was that move then for Everton. Blundell broke down the right-hand side. Ball put in behind McCabe, and Payne gets away from her with ease. Just no one in the box there for Everton.
Yeah.
Mace wins it back. Wheeler knocks it wide into Payne. It looks like these 11 Everton players have never played with each other before. They've played a full season together.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no excuse for how disjointed this looks.
But there's so many things wrong with that move. Like the run and everything is great, but then why is there no one in the box? But also, upon seeing that there is nobody in the 18-yard box, why does Tony Payne just pass it in there? What's she hoping happens?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure on that one from an Everton perspective. Cramshire trying to bring it down. Smith gets it back, and it's a lovely roulette spin, but she gives away possession. And it's clumsy between Snoyce and Cramshire, which feels like the best description of this performance so far for both teams.
Yeah.
And Everton are somehow still in possession. Here's Blundell. Wide now into Payne. And Payne can carry inside here. Tries to slot it in behind. Kadina's going to get there, though, under pressure from Snice. And fashions a pass down the line. Inside now to Palova. Bounces it to Smith. Smith back to Palova, who tries to carry forwards. Carries out of play.
Yeah, Arsenal's sloppiness has really let Everton back into this game. Because although they weren't really creating too much, the first 10-15 minutes, Arsenal just had all the ball and were kind of... You felt like they'd eventually pass Everton to death and find a goal. But sloppy mistakes, and Everton are picked up a bit of momentum here.
Indeed, Payne trying to force the issue again there, and this will be an Everton corner. Phil says, can we just get Mace back to Arsenal, please? She is so good. Yeah, she's having another good game here. I think what's interesting about Ruth Mace, obviously we know she's a very technically gifted player. It doesn't really show at Everton. I mean, even then, she's still picking up the ball and trying to play passes, trying to carry it forwards. But what we've seen a lot more from her this year is obviously the defensive side of her game, which we haven't seen, well, we haven't had to see loads of, I guess, when she's playing in a more midfield role. But yeah, gets in front of everything. Just such a combative and assertive defender. And has really blossomed in that centre-back position.
Yeah.
Corner now for Everton. Tagawa delivers it into the box. It's headed away by Marnham. And Arsenal don't do a bad job of defending that set piece. Mace. Back to Blundell. And now Hayashi. Who's going to look to lift it over the top and try and cause an issue here. Kadina can't quite get there and it has been given as a free kick. So and Kramjat seem to be jostling. But I think Mace is one of those where I don't really see where she goes is the problem. Because, I mean, Man United need a centre-half, but does she want to go and be a backup at Manchester United rather than start for Everton? Probably not. But it does feel like she needs to move if she's going to get in the England squad for next year, because for whatever reason, she's not been considered really by Serena Wiegman.
Yeah.
And I get she's starting for the 23, so it's good that she's getting minutes there, but it's surprising to me Ruben Mace hasn't got more opportunities in the England first team. Obviously did make it into the squad back in March before the Euros, obviously, though. Picked up an injury in that camp and wasn't able to be part of it, or picked up an injury just before it. Foul here from Claire Wheeler, and a yellow card for Claire Wheeler and a free kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, again, it's Emily Fox just trying to make things happen. Picks up the ball at right back, drives inside brilliantly, and Wheeler just brings her down, and she runs across that.
Chance now for Beth Mead, who whips it towards the back post, and it's off the crossbar again in this game from Mead. Arsenal still alive here. McCabe into Smith. Back to Wubben-Moy. And now Kadina. Wubben-Moy. Here's Fox. Coming down the line, and Pacheco bringing her down there, and it is given us a free kick. In a good position, this for Arsenal. You not agreeing with that one, Harry?
No, and the referee didn't either. Referee doesn't give this at all, and it's a linesman on his near side that's given it. But Everton getting away with another one as Mead found the crossbar again. Arsenal taking that free kick quickly and just caught Everton napping, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mead's had some really good moments, but also had some really poor moments. It's been a very mixed game, which I think is that inconsistency showing. Yet to find a goal in this game, though, either side. Mead's gone closest, with there are two opportunities now off the crossbar. Arsenal with this free kick, and it's Mead and McCabe over it, and this time McCabe isn't going to roll it to her. She'll clip it into the box, and Brosnan up to claim it. Brosnan, third, I believe, in the league for high claims this season. Claiming another one there. And, well, there is some sort of knock here for Everton. Kitagawa just down. I think it's the ankle there for Hikaru Kitagawa. Is okay to continue, though. Of course, as Arsenal, it would be so nice to have her for centre mid or centre back. I suspect Mason the victim of being such a key figure in the younger age group. Yeah, I mean, hopefully she gets that step up to the England first team next season. But for Arsenal, I don't see Arsenal signing a centre back this summer. I think if McCabe is staying now and Battier is joining, I don't think Arsenal make any defensive transfers, with Catley obviously renewing as well. Because centre halves, they've got Williamson, Catley, Wubben-Moy, and then I think they're considering McCabe as an option, with obviously Reed to come back. So I don't think they'll make any transfers there, which make of that what you will. I know there'll be some people that agree with that, and there'll be many that don't. But yeah, I don't think Arsenal will make any more defensive transfers on top of that. Here is Cadena. And obviously I think Arsenal's business is going to be done by the 1st of July because they seem to have made every move already.
Yeah. I have to say, the other problem Everton have got with playing, players like Pacheco so high is at points she's popping up front. It's a very fluid front three. With Snoyce, front 3-4 players of Pacheco, Cramjar, and Snoyce are all popping up anywhere really on this left-hand side.
It's a very fluid front three, but none of them are strikers.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Like Cramjar can play there, but for me feels more like a second striker, attack midfield type player, good at linking the play. Snoyce has played as a striker before, but it just isn't prolific. Ball into the area now, looking for Russo. Can Mead get there? It's up in the air from Hayashi. It bounces around. Russo kicks it, and it's cleared away by Fernandes. And somehow Everton dealing with that again there. Fox. Inside, looking for Palova, and picked off by Kitagawa. And now they'll carry it away. Cramshaw trying to go down the line. Kicks it. And now Arsenal win back possession. Fox. Here is Mead. Fox. Cadena coming forwards, now wide for Emily Fox. Marnham does enough to squeeze the pass back out into Fox. Caldente. And now Wubben-Moy. Mead. Shifts it back to Cadena. Here is McCabe. Wide now for Smith, who wants to go down the line, takes on Blundell, lifts it into the area. It's a bit of a mess, but Brosnan does well to react and claims that ball.
Yeah, again, it's what Everton are happy for. Everton, are happy for that to happen. Arsenal start it on the right, they move it in the horseshoe to the left, the ball comes in and they deal with it. And that's all they've got to do tonight, Everton. And Arsenal will be keen to get a goal in the next 9 minutes. They do not want to let Everton get into the break level.
Yeah. I just don't think Arsenal are doing enough to try and break the Everton structure. It's so static again from Arsenal. Here's Blundell. Into Payne, who can carry inside here. Tony Payne up against McCabe. Doesn't do much. Heavy touch. Makes it easy for McCabe. Now Wheeler. Too light there, really, from Caldente in midfield. Blundell will carry this backwards and lays it to Ruby Mace. And now back to Fernandes.
Yeah, I think it's the time between efforts for Arsenal. Mead's hit the bar twice now, but they're not consistently putting Everton under pressure. The shots or at least the dangerous chances, they're only popping up every now and again.
Yeah.
Everton and that that does some credit has to go to Everton because they've done well to do exactly what you need to do when you're the underdog, which is just get up the pitch to take the pressure off, get the ball up the other end, just to give yourself a couple minutes where you are under pressure. So they have done well, Everton, to limit Arsenal. But I feel like you see some of the gaps and the errors from this Everton backline, and Arsenal should be all over it.
They're just sitting very narrow, and Arsenal moving the ball too slowly. They're happy to go into positions which are quite favourable for Everton. Fernandes now to Kitagawa. Wheel around the corner to Pacheco, but Fox jumping in front of it and knocks it out of play. Nigel Welcome says, yes, chaps, can't stay long, but I thought I'd drop in my way to the Etihad. Welcome, Nigel, and welcome Sirenveli and Shell as well, both supporting Everton this evening. Hoping they can get a result. At the moment, this would be a great point. But yeah, Arsenal, one shot on target in this game so far. Just simply haven't really put Everton under enough pressure. Wheeler, now to Kitagawa. Pass inside is picked off by Cadena. Now Marnham. Back to Mead and Caldente. Back to Mead. Plays it into Emily Fox. And here is Wubben-Moy. McCabe. Mead again now on the right-hand side. Caldente tries to go through the lines. One back by Pacheco. And now Kitagawa trying to find that forward pass. But again, out of play. That feels as no Kim Little equals midfield struggles. Need to clean up these fringe players and strengthen for next year. Yeah, I think it's also a structural issue. This midfield is just not moving the ball forwards particularly well. Hayashi. Back out into Ruby Mace, who can try and find the ball into the box here. Will lift it towards goal from range, and that would have been one hell of a strike as she pulled it off, but well wide of the mark.
Yeah, caught it all wrong there, Mace. I mean, to be honest, I don't blame her. There wasn't much else on, really. Drove it forwards nicely, got there. No one made a run into the box, and there wasn't a wider option. Worth a go. Got it all wrong in the end, but we've seen some efforts going from there before.
Switch the play now into Emily Fox. Fox looking forwards. As she play down the line. Happy to carry down the line here, Fox. Mead goes back to Wubben-Moy. Does seem to be a bit of a coming together here, and the ref will stop play. That's Frida Marnham down here. We didn't actually see in the shot.
No, I can only see a bit of a scuffle with one of the centre halves or something. Marnham suggesting a bit more than that. We'll get a hit. Look here. So she just runs across Fernandez. And yeah, I mean it's a barge from Fernandez, but I don't think there's nothing in it.
It's whether she leads with the elbow or the shoulder, right? I think it's just about okay.
Yeah, I mean it's silly. It's really silly, and it's a foul. But I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't spotted.
Here is Fox. Now to Mead. Marnham. Dispossessed by Fernandez, who stepped up well there. Wheeler now down the line. Here's Pacheco. Let's go look to switch the play. That's not a bad ball. Cadena able to cushion the header away and into Emily Fox. No, Arsenal going to play forwards again. Mace, though, intercepting that long ball. Kramjar heading on. Cadena does enough there under pressure. Borba into McCabe. As again, Payne here will put her under pressure. McCabe not really able to go. Knocks it into Payne. Here is Smith. Arsenal stuck in their own corner here with Olivia Smith. And I think they've won a corner there.
Yeah, it should be a corner. I mean, you'd think Arsenal like a time wasting for a victory in the 95th minute. I was just no idea what's going on.
They just got stuck there, and again, the ball should never have been over there in the first place.
But at the end of that, just smash it into one of the players and hope you get a throw, or even still just put it out of play. And then win it back off them, because Everton will, ultimately misplace a pass and give it to you.
Well, corner now, which has been Arsenal's kryptonite at times this season. At both ends of the pitch. Can Everton take advantage? Ball from the right-hand side. And it's headed away by Wubben-Moy. It's going to fall for Kitagawa, who will take aim from range. And again, would have been spectacular if she'd pulled that off. But the shot not, nowhere near the goal.
Yeah, she geared up for it initially, which I think would have been okay, but then probably should have readjusted after realising that it wasn't going to sit up the way that she wanted it to.
Yeah, would have been difficult to pull off. It just kicked up a little bit too high for her. Borba now with Cadena. Borba to Caldente. Goes back to Cadena. And now Borba again. Caldente. Out to Wubben-Moy. Pacheco forcing her down the line. Great pressure again here from Everton as they turn the ball over. Fox trying to get back in there. Pacheco pokes it forward. Here's Kramzar. Can she get a shot away now, Kramzar? Plays it down the line. Can Snois get there? Not quite. And the two of them unable to work it between them. And here's Marnham. Wants to break away with the ball. Plays it into Mead. And it's blocked into Fernandez. Here's Pacheco. Now Russo. Good challenge in there from Kramzar. Knocks it out of play.
They're just doing enough, Everton, just to disrupt Arsenal and not let them get forwards.
Indeed. I think that is the word, isn't it? They're doing enough in this game. It's not been spectacular. It's certainly not something to write home about at the moment, but they are doing enough. It is worth saying as well, Arsenal have been fairly lacklustre.
Yeah.
Kadina nodding down to Palova. Did she keep that in? She has just about. A pass inside now for Alessia Russo. And now to Olivia Smith, who clips it towards Fox. Headed down to Mead now, whose touch is heavy and loses possession. And Kramzart will come and collect the bouncing ball. And will there be added time in this half? There will be 1 minute. And Everton trying to come forwards at the end of this half. Wheeler will play it in behind. Does Snoyce time this well? Oh, Kadina just about gets there with a challenge. And the offside flag has gone off anyway. And now Arsenal with more going long. You never get 0 minutes of added time in the modern game, but this does feel like the kind of game that could have had it.
Yeah.
Mace, trying to play down the line, comes off Beth Mead, and that will be an Everton throw. So, Kitagawa. Caldente tries to find the forward pass. It's blocked. Out for an Arsenal throw-in. Fox looks down the line. Kitagawa heading away. And that is the half-time whistle here at the Emirates Stadium. Not a first 45 minutes that either side will be incredibly happy with. Arsenal 0, Everton 0. There's been limited chances at both ends. Beth Mead with the best opportunities of an Arsenal persuasion. 2 efforts crashing against the crossbar. Outside of that, though, Arsenal have failed, really, to put much pressure on the Everton goalkeeper. 1 shot on target in that first half between the two sides. Not a footballing vintage, Harry.
No, it's not quite been the spectacle that it potentially could have been. I think it's very much got that end of season feeling about it, but it's 45 minutes that Everton will view as quite positive. Arsenal will be disappointed by, and will want they'll hope that their quality in the second half will come through and put this Everton side to bed. But a very positive 45 minutes for Everton. Of course, there are still massive problems, but at the end of the day, they've held Arsenal to a draw after 45 minutes, which is pretty decent, saying their last couple of performances. But yeah, I think it's just one of those rare occasions in football where neither side are playing particularly well. I think that there's criticisms, quite big criticisms of both sides in that first 45 minutes, and they've all come together to end in what is currently a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I think it's been, as you say, I don't think either side have done much well. I don't think either side have done much wrong. Well, I do actually. I think there's been a lot of mistakes. It just looks sloppy. And again, I mean, Phil says in live chat where you can certainly tell our season's over, very 1 foot on the beach performance. It's been sloppy from both sides. It's two teams who know that for all intents and purposes their season is done. They know there's not much to play for now, and they're just getting this last game, this penultimate game done. They would, it's also like a midweek. Everyone just wants the season to be over at this point. They're ready for a summer off, and you can very much see that in the way these two sides are playing. It's been very sloppy, been quite disorganised. And the tempo of the game hasn't been particularly high. And I said at some point in the first half, feels like a pre-season friendly. The intensity isn't there. It doesn't really feel like the sharpness is there. I think that's more to do with the fact that the players are very fatigued rather than obviously not sharp. But yeah, it's just had the feeling of a game where neither side has much to play for now, and so they're both just getting this game done.
Yeah, exactly that. I think there's Beth Mead's been the best player on the pitch.
Beth Mead wants to sign out with a goal, doesn't she?
Exactly.
At the Emirates, so no one else is really bothered at the moment.
This game means so much to her. She wants to get a goal. She wants to, last home game wants to deliver. Everyone else is just treating it like we're friendly. But yeah, I think that it's one of those where both sides have lacked quality on the ball. Really, it was, to be honest, it was weird in the way that Arsenal, yes, it was quite slow, but they started with all of the ball, and as I say, it just felt like, eventually a goal would come. But actually, as the half went on, Everton seemed to sensed that Arsenal weren't playing very well and started actually taking advantage of it. Now, don't get me wrong, Everton have been really poor building up, have made quite a few errors themselves, on the ball, but they've got forward and tried to be positive, which is something that we haven't said about Everton at times this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's been moments in attacking areas where they've actually got the ball forwards. It's just so disjointed up there. There is a lack of a clear presence, I think, in the front line. I think you've got a couple players that are trying to combine. It's not really working, and it feels that if they've got Kelly Gargo on there, maybe they've just got something to aim for. There's not really been a target in the penalty box. There's been a few times they've got the ball into decent positions out wide. And I mean, the Tony Payne one was almost laughable. Gets into a good position, sees no one in the box, and still squares it. And that, I just felt that was a prevalent issue in the first half for Everton. Just a lack of an emphasis really in attack. They get the ball up there and don't really know what to do. And it feels like that's the case for Everton across the pitch really. They get the ball and don't really know what to do with it. There's just not a clear understanding, I think, between the players of what the idea is to do with the ball, what the patterns are, who the option's going to be, who's going to create space for someone else. None of that's really happening. Build up looks so disjointed. Everything just looks really disjointed for Everton.
Yeah, it's a proper interim manager performance. I think Phelan has set them up in a way that they're just going to avoid being embarrassed. And to be fair to him, they've done that in the majority of games since he took charge. I mean, they've picked up some decent wins against the sides below them, but even in the big games, they haven't been absolutely trounced. And I think that's what he's come in to do. And so far it's got them results. But as you say, there doesn't seem to be a real way of playing football. They're very much set up just to stop the opposition rather than play their own stuff. Which is why when they've actually been on the ball, they've struggled because there doesn't seem to be a game plan for that. When Arsenal have got the ball, they go, right, we know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be narrow. We're going to stand here and hope that Ruby Mace clears the ball at some point. But when they're going forwards, when they've got the ball, it's just like, who do I pass to next? I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm either just going to kick it to an Arsenal player or kick it out of play. And that's not effective football.
Yeah, I mean, you say there about being an interim, so I don't think it feels that way. Obviously, Phelan has his record so far, apart from the Chelsea game when they lost 4-1, every game, win or loss, has been a 1-goal margin. They've just kept things very tight, and if they get an opportunity, they get forwards and try and score. But often it's very much a defence-first mentality. I don't think they're going to extend him to the summer. It would be Leicester giving Rick Passmore permanent contract levels of an odd decision. You'd think they'd look in the market at options. You'd think they would consider a permanent hire from outside the organisation, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do in the summer window. But yeah, it's not been pretty at all here, really, at the Emirates. Neither side has created much of a couple pot shots from range. From both teams, one shot on target in 45 minutes of football from two teams, just not good enough. Arsenal, 17 touches in the opposition box, just haven't really done enough with it when they get there. Yeah,
exactly that. I mean, again, we mentioned Beth Mead. She's been pretty sharp, hit the bar twice, is, looking bright, but, Russo snatched at a couple of chances. Marnham's been a little bit quiet again. Smith, I think, has struggled quite a lot out wide. There's been a couple decent deliveries from McCabe, but again, they're either being cleared by Mace or caught by Brosnan, and Russo, isn't getting on the end of any of them. The one quality ball that was put in by Fox was headed on by Mead, and it was unlucky that it hit the bar. But that's the only bit of quality that we've really seen from Arsenal in the final third. So yeah, they'll be disappointed. It is crying out, this game, for someone just to step up with a bit of quality. Mario Cante's on the pitch. Surely
again, just the two players for Arsenal that are going to break the low block, they're going to make something happen, or I guess three if you count Beth Mead as well, because she has been doing it to some extent. A Smith, who is being forced as wide as possible to really hug the touchline, and Calvin-Tay, who's being played in defence midfield. So they're both in positions where they can't really just make something happen. There's a couple of times where Smith's looked to cut inside, but she has to cut inside so far if she wants to get a shot away, that eventually someone's gonna step in and make a challenge or get in her way. So it's just not really coming off. And those two players are just too far away from the action to be able to impact it. And the players that are in those kind of positions just aren't really making things happen. And it's felt really safe from Arsenal. I mean, 88% pass accuracy sounds great on paper, but it's because they're just bouncing passes between each other. And so while all of their players have got like great stats for touches and passes, they're not actually done anything with it.
Yeah.
And it's just been another one of those games. I mean, again, they haven't even bothered putting a big chance of stat on this game yet because neither side has created one. There's just nothing's happened. We've watched 45 minutes where very little has happened. Beth Mead to the two best chances, but they weren't in great positions. Apart from the header onto the crossbar wasn't too bad a position, but even then, Martina Fernandez should have got up to that one. But yeah, odd first half, I think, is the way to describe it. Very much end of season game. There's not much on the line now. I think it's probably the same feeling for a lot of the games this Sunday because not only is the title fight over, the relegation fight over, the Europe fight over, but there's actually not a lot of teams that can move positions.
Yeah.
Like Brighton will probably want to beat Tottenham so they can secure 6th. Outside of that, are West Ham worried about whether they finish 10th or 11th? Probably not.
Everton could play
play against Man City, so yeah.
Everton could play like they have tonight and they'll beat Leicester. And that does not reflect well on Leicester because Everton have not played well tonight. But
it's very Leicester to win that game.
Yeah,
build a bit of confidence going into Charlton.
But yeah, it's quite an anticlimactic end to the season, as you say. I mean, I think after the seasons they've had, Chelsea, Man United might just sit in a circle, hold hands, and cry for 90 minutes at Stamford Bridge on Saturday because it's just been one of those seasons. And that is the other thing is that it's not even like. Because the final day's on a Saturday, both these sides lose a day of rest. So that will also be on the mind. Is a lot of these both sets of players will realise they've got to play again in 72 hours time. So yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I mean Everton have got slight rotation in their squad. Vignola didn't start, Gallagher didn't start. They're probably looking at the game against Leicester as a real opportunity to get 3 points on the board and to bow out of the season with a big victory, I guess. But yeah, again, as I say, not much to play for either of these two sides tonight. I think that is absolutely showing out on the pitch. Arsenal will back themselves. They haven't looked like conceding. They'll back themselves to have a moment at some point in the game that you think would probably be enough to give them the 3 points and put themselves second in the WSL. But there doesn't seem to be too much concern about whether they do that or not tonight.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that usually what happens, especially with the big sides, is that even if their league position can't change or the season is relatively over, they've usually got like a cup final or something at the end of the season that they want to be in good form for. That players want to play well, so they earn the chance to start in that game. But for the likes of Arsenal and I think we've seen it with United a lot. United realised that their European chances were over when they drew to Tottenham. And you could tell that in the Brighton game. They played like a side who knew their season was over. And I think that we've seen that with a couple of teams now. Is that apart from Man City, who knew they had to win the league and have now got an FA Cup final to go to, they're everyone else's seasons are kind of ran, and that does have an impact as a player because especially when you've had a heavy season. You're coming off the back of a very you're disappointed because it's been a rubbish campaign, and part of you just wants to get to the end of the season, have fun at the World Sevens tournament, and then go get on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know yet the final two teams that World Sevens tournament. I don't think Arsenal probably said they're not going to be in it. Everton are not competing in it, or are they there?
They are there.
They are there. Everton might win that. That'd be nice for them.
That'll still be Ruby Mace, and just a dream.
Yeah. But it's going to be. I mean, I don't know the fact it's all English clubs. They've also lost like all their big teams because Arsenal and City aren't in it. Chelsea may well confirm in the next few days, but they're not in the moment. So it's going to be a bit like the League Cup next season.
I think United should want to win something. That's what Skinner's thinking. Get a trophy, get something on the board this season. Which I forget that is actually in a couple of weeks' time. That's at the end of this month.
Yeah, it's after the Champions League final, isn't it? Before the FA Cup final.
It's like the 28th to the 30th of May. So that'll be a fun weekend.
Friday, Saturday.
I look forward to watching that.
5-a-side games, and we've got the FA Cup final. Lovely little half term there of women's football. But yeah, I don't think I've got much left to say on that first half. What can make this second half a bit more enjoyable?
Players need to up it. There's a lot of quality on that pitch, especially in an Arsenal shirt. All it takes is for them to turn up, and this game will be, and they will win this game. They just need to bring that quality. Maybe we'll see some changes. Who knows? But yeah, both sides need to up it in the second half. They've both, even Everton, have got a better level to find than what was in that second half. So hopefully, both sides are going to come out and deliver that.
Do Everton just go for it? Do they go and put Gargo and Vignola and Miki on and
Maybe.
go? There's a chance here we can get a result.
Maybe, and then they can come away and end the season with a brilliant win at the Emirates and become the first side to do that. To beat Slegers Arsenal at home, which would be something in the WSL. But imagine you put Scott Field on the same level as OL Leoness for beating Slegers at the Emirates. What a level that would be. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, if Arsenal don't up their level, Everton have got a chance of nicking something. I did not think I'd say that. Before kickoff. Incredible how that first half played out. But yeah, I mean, I've never seen a 45 minutes that was pretty much pointless.
Yeah, feels like Gunnosaurus playing a central midfield would make it fun. Absolutely.
Throw both mascots on.
Yeah, that would make it. I don't even know what the Everton mascot is.
Oh,
just a giant toffee.
I think it's a bit more inventive than that.
That would be brilliant if it's that.
Giant doesn't talk either. Just a giant toffee.
That would be mint. Shaman says, "Are you doing the German Cup final tomorrow between Bayern and Wolfsburg?" Unfortunately, not. I wasn't aware that it was tomorrow, and
why is it on Thursday
at 3 p.m?
Why? Fair enough.
Who knows? But yeah, I probably will watch that. But yeah, we're not be streaming that. But we do obviously have a lot of football coming up over the next few weeks. This weekend, the WSL final day. Join Harry here live on Saturday from 12:45 for the WSL final day. Not much to play for, but that Chelsea Man United game will still be interesting. Then we've got the Champions League final, and then some very exciting action, obviously, in the World Sevens, and then the FA Cup final. Arsenal get us back underway in this game this evening, though. Russo knocks it back to Malagona Caldense, and we're underway for another 45 minutes of football. Hopefully, a more enjoyable 45 minutes of football than the first half here at the Emirates. Here is Lotta Wubben-Moy looking to go down the line. Options, though, not to her liking. Forced backwards. Wubben-Moy now into Mead, who loses out in midfield to Hayashi. Another look to come forwards. Everton Pacheco, though, intercepted. It is out for an Everton throw-in. Phil says, were you lads even born when they used to do the annual mascot race? I don't know what that is, so I'm going to hazard a guess at no. Ball launched away by Borba. Let's try to step in there, but Russo's going to get to the ball. She'll carry it down the right-hand side. What can Arsenal do? Russo still going, trying to put the ball in the box. It's blocked by Martina Fernandez, now for an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, Arsenal need to up it early doors and get a goal in the next few minutes and kind of just put to bed any chance of Everton nicking something here. I think the longer this game remains 0-0, Everton will fancy themselves to dig in and at least take a point away from this game.
So, chance now for Arsenal from this corner. Katie McCabe over this. Can Arsenal finally offer some attacking threat on set pieces? Ball in on top of the goalkeeper. Brosnan punches it away. McCabe now is stopped by Cassius Nice and out for another Arsenal corner.
Yeah, again, that punch looked difficult for Brosnan, but I think it was our own players that were in our way in the end. Get a look back.
There was a bundle in there. Palova gets in front of her.
Three Everton players getting in the way of their own goalkeeper who's trying to punch the ball away. Does well, Brosnan, to get through her teammate.
Hop our own players. Caldente heads it into the box. Cadina's going to score, but she is offside, and that was blatantly obvious. Before she'd even scored, I think the flag was going to go up. And they had Cadina and Palova lurking in those positions to put some pressure on the goalkeeper. But that is always the risk. Playing it like that is that your players will end up in an offside position if they do impact the play.
Yeah. Again, the initial corner wasn't great. Everton did want to deal with it, and as Caldente heads it back across, both Cadina and Palova were offside. Cadina pokes it home, but that is a...
Well disciplined there from both the defenders on the post, Pacheco and Wheeler. They stepped up really aggressively, any slower, and Arsenal would have a one-goal advantage in this case. Wubben-Moy into Caldente, going to spread the play wide into Olivia Smith, who takes a positive touch and wants to take on Blundell. A pass inside now to Caldente, back to McCabe, and wide now to Frida Marnham. Marnham floats it in. It will bounce through. Fox trying to get there at the back post, but Kitagawa able to make the challenge now for another Arsenal corner.
Everton are happy to just put it out for corners because they know that Arsenal aren't really going to threaten from them. It's an easy way out for sides like Everton because without any hesitation, there Kitagawa can just smash it out of play. Now Arsenal will go score for a minute and make that point look silly. But with their record of set pieces, it's a favourable option for defenders.
Indeed. Katie McCabe then over this. Delivered towards the back post, and it's headed away well by Kitagawa. Mace tries to clear, and Smith can't quite keep it on the field of play. It comes off Olivia Smith, though, so it will be an Everton goal kick. Mace had another good game.
Yeah.
Not as many defensive contributions as she often provides. Martina Fernandez leading the way in that statistic with 10 in this game, but still has been readily involved. Mace across to Fernandez. And now Kitagawa. Hayashi to Wheeler. Back to Hanoka Hayashi. And now Kramzar. He's going to spread the play, looking for Tony Payne, and Payne's going to get there. And Everton coming forwards now. Payne wants to take on McKay, going down the line, cuts it into the box towards the front post, and Borba adjusts well and is able to claim the ball.
Yeah, alert goalkeeping from Borba. That nearly could have caught her out there. Payne just trying to sneak in at the near post, but Borba does well to realise what's happening and keep it out. But again, it's a warning sign. Everton are just there if Arsenal do slip up or not take control of this game.
Cadena. Now McCabe looking to go over the top and find Alessia Russo. This one back well by Mace. Brosnan. Plays it forward. Kitagawa trying to poke it through Pullover there, which doesn't work. And Arsenal have back possession. Caldente clipping it wide. Mead now laying the ball in there. It's chested away by Fernandez. And now Pullover. Fox. Positive touch. Tries to carry down the line. Pacheco, though, staying with her. And Fox, I think, running out of play. And it will be a goal kick now. And Arsenal a little bit confused by that, but I think that was the right decision.
Yeah. There definitely was a swing of the leg from Wheeler, but I don't think she made any contact with it. And Everton, again, can just take the opportunity to slow the game down and get on the ball. I mean, they haven't looked back at the Arsenal goal here. I don't know whether they're questioning if Wheeler's playing Cadena on or not. I don't think she is.
No, I think Cadena's offside there.
Yeah. I haven't got any problems with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're slowing it down, showing 100 replays, but Cadena's right boot looks deeper than Wheeler's by a decent margin, so not too worried about that one. Brosnan knocks out to the left-hand side. Here is Kitagawa. And even the Arsenal players on the pitch didn't celebrate it. They thought it was going to get ruled off.
Exactly.
Wheeler. It's nice dropping out of the front line well to receive. And this is better from Everton. Nice football. But they are forced back to Fernandez. Now to Hayashi. Who's going to turn, looking to the left-hand side into Wheeler. And now Fernandez. Hayashi. Nice turn into Kramzar. Plays around the corner. And Payne looking to get in behind there. Is that a foul from McKay? Well, I thought the referee was storming in there like she was prepared to give something and doesn't. I think McCabe just about on the right side of the rules, but Everton are not happy at all there, the coaching staff. Marnham shifts it wide now to Smith. And she take on Blundell, cuts inside Olivia Smith, almost. A moment of magic as it crashes off the crossbar again.
Oof, crazy few moments. But this is brilliant from Smith. Exactly what she's good at, where she's dangerous.
Holding the width wide there, and it gives her a little bit more space.
Yeah.
Cuts inside. It's unlucky there, not to find the top corner.
Does everything right. Feet brilliant. Just knocks it past Wheeler. Gets the right amount of curl on it, and just off the frame of the third time Arsenal hit the bar tonight. But I'd like to have a look at back of that challenge from McCabe on Payne.
That is awful from Sky. 4 clips of Olivia Smith's shot, and none of the fact there could have been a potential red card offence. I'm not. Again, we saw it once. I'm not saying it should have been a red card. I need to see it again. But it's weird that they didn't show a replay there. Strong challenge from Pacheco. Here's Caldente carrying the ball through the lines, now looking to knock it wide, and Kitagawa smashing it into Mead, and it's out for an Everton throw-in. Kitagawa sauntering across to collect. Also, looks pretty clearly offside to me, not sure why that needed so much attention. Yeah, the Cadena one, getting so many replays, slowed down.
Yeah.
It was a bit of an odd one.
And the problem is that Peter will screenshot that and put it on social media and say that she's onside, and then suddenly that gets banded around when actually it's a
Well, you just draw a line on your phone and they go, well, I must. That looks straight to me. She's offside. She's onside. Here's McCabe knocking it down the line. I'd like to see a replay though of that McCabe one.
Yeah,
looked pretty strong on Payne. Didn't look like was nowhere near the ball. So Smith coming inside. Payne does enough as she gets back in, and Everton in possession. Wheeler into Kramzar. Ball down the line, looking for Wheeler. He's still battling away as Ruben Moy comes across, and back now to Borba. And here is Fox. Wide now to Mead. Back to Ruben Moy. Palova. Cadena. Caldente will play it forwards into Frida Marnon. And now Smith, who wants to get around Blundell. Blundell does well to get back in, knocks it out of play. That will be an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, better from Blundell, sticking tight to Smith and not letting that ball come across. And Everton have done well just to get through the first 10 minutes of this half. And, Arsenal, of course, have had a couple of chances, but again, it's not shots on target. No. It's not. Brosnan's not flying across her goal, being called into action.
And here's Beth Mead. Ball towards the back post. A lot of height on that, and Mace is going to get up and head it. And now up against Russo. Russo trying to see it out for a corner and does so.
Yes, just again, Arsenal corners are so ineffective. I mean, they haven't got a shot. That's what their fourth, fifth corner of the game. They haven't got a shot off from a single one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously a disallowed goal. They recycled it pretty nicely, but they are offside.
Here's Caldente, and now to McCabe. McCabe will lift it in towards the back post, and it bounces all the way through without a touch. And again, complaints from Arsenal, but I'm not really sure what their argument is.
There's been a lot of those tonight, where the ball seems to have very obviously bounced out of play off a certain player, and one or other teams that seem to be convinced it's come off the other.
Yeah, it makes their ducks out of the way of it. And I like as well how it's not Russo stood right next to her complaining. It's Palova from the other side of the box who's looking through 8 bodies.
Yeah.
Kitagawa trying to play down the line, clears it into Mead. Back out of play for an Everton throw. Wheeler switching the play into Payne. Tony Payne inside to Claire Wheeler. And now Blundell. Payne. Wheeler. Haven't have drawn Arsenal in. Can they find some space in behind? It's a lovely ball in Blundell, who gets away from McKay, plays it into the box, and no one in there for Everton making the run. A shot now from range is charged down by Palova. Kramzar tries to keep it alive, but Ruben Moy clearing the ball away. But again there, Everton finding joy down down Arsenal's left side. And just lacking that final ball. Not the first time tonight they've got in behind McCabe.
Yeah. Another decent move from Everton. Yes, just that final ball, that cut back isn't quite what Everton need. But It's just that threat is there, and that's what I mean by the longer this game stays 0-0, the more joy Everton, could get, because if they score one of these, they're having fleeting chances to come forwards. But if Arsenal don't score theirs and Everton do, then this could be a very difficult scoreline for Arsenal coming into the game.
Well, does Everton really need to find a striker? Well, they've got their 3 best attacks on the bench tonight, which probably explains their lack of end product and lack of threat, really, in the penalty area. But, yeah, it does feel like... I mean, if Gargo's going to stay, then they're fine. But the concern would be if Gargo doesn't. I think they kind of need players in almost every position. They brought in players in almost every position last summer. They don't need to do that again.
Yeah. I'd bring those players on, though, if I'm Everton.
Yeah, is half an hour going to mean they can't play against Leicester?
I'd sense a real opportunity. Get Vignola on there. Get Kelly Gargo on there.
Yeah, get Mimiki. She's in great form. Here's Kramzar. Carrying the ball forwards well. Options to the left and right. Tries to play it out to Pacheco. It's blocked, though, by Wouben Moy. And that's disappointing. Everton had numbers committed forwards there on the counter. Arsenal moving it forwards, albeit not with much haste. Fox, though, will carry down the line now. Turns and goes back. Here is Wouben Moy.
Kramzar will be so frustrated that she just couldn't get the pass out to Pacheco in time.
Yeah. Here's Smith. Wants to take on Blundell. Going down the line. It's brilliant from Smith. Cuts it back. Russo pokes on target. For the first time this half, Arsenal giving Everton something to think about. It's a good save from Courtney Brosnan.
Yeah. Better from Arsenal. Smith's been much more lively in this second half. Does well. Good feet to beat Blundell. Cuts it back. And Russo does really well to get in front of Fernandez there. Flips it goals. Just, couldn't beat Brosnan.
Cut back to the Everton build-up, which has immediately gone out of play. Here's Caldente. Good challenge from Mead there to hold on to possession. Here's Fox. Bit of space to play the cross. Decides not to, though. Not really seeing much height in there. Here is Caldente. Goes direct into Russo. Bounces back to Paloga, who finds Smith, who strikes it to central, though. And Courtney Brosnan can claim. Don't mind that, though, from Smith taking it first time.
Yeah, this is what Arsenal should have been doing from minute one. This is the consistent pressure that I was talking about in that first half. That's now 2 shots on target in the last 3 minutes. It's what they've got to do. Sustain that pressure. Keep testing Brosnan, and eventually you'll find the back of the net.
Hayashi. Back into Claire Wheeler. Back to Hayashi. Pacheco. And now Honoka Hayashi. Fernandez. Hayashi. Back again to Martina Fernandez. Rumours this week, Martina Fernandez may be of interest to Barcelona, return to Barcelona, which you feel would be some upgrade.
Yeah.
Barcelona obviously looking for centre-half to replace Mappé Leon. And a product of their academy. This is a great ball into Payne, which Arsenal just don't deal with. Payne now looking for options on the edge of the box. Nothing becoming apparent. So now she'll look to take on McCabe. Waits for Smith to get involved. Now goes back to Blundell. Here's Payne. Inside to Wheeler. Back down the line to Payne. Again, they get in behind McCabe. Ball in, and it's headed away by Cadena. And, headed away into a dangerous area, but it falls to an Arsenal player. And now Arsenal can break. Here is Marnham to 2-on-2 as Marnham drives forward. Russo the other. Tries to play it across and will find Alessia Russo, but Everton have got numbers back now. And Mace will force her backwards. Here is Smith. Cuts inside, shifts it back to Russo. Who looks now to chop in on her right. Mace does brilliantly there, though. Caldente to Russo towards the back post. Headed away by Kitagawa. An offside flag there up against Beth Mead.
Really good from Ruby Mace. It's absolute brilliance from Mace. Just manages to slow down Arsenal's progress pretty much on her own. And then the ball in from Russo. It wasn't a bad ball, but Mead just straight into an offside position.
And we did say, Everton believe. They are believing. Double change for the Toffees. It is going to be Kaja Snois making way for Kelly Gargo. And Ornella Vignola coming on as well, as Everton are going to go for this game. 2 big attacking changes. Well, it's the impact that Everton need to go out and find a surprise goal.
Yeah, absolutely. You're bringing on Vignola, you're bringing on Gargo. That's firepower. And that will worry Arsenal, because that is the kind of firepower that if that will take chances if they get them. You get Gargo on the ball in the penalty area, she'll find the back of the net.
Indeed, and a double change as well for Arsenal. Beth Mead, her last minutes at the Emirates Stadium. And so they cut to all the incredible banners made for Beth Mead in her last game at the Emirates Stadium. She applauds the fans as they applaud her off the pitch, and she'll be replaced by Caitlin Ford. A change as well at right back. Emily Fox making way. Smila Holmberg on in her position, I believe.
Yeah. 2 double changes then. Hopefully that will be the quality required for either side to get a goal in this game. 64 minutes, still yet to see a goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating situation where Everton have just brought on bigger attacking changes than Arsenal.
Yeah.
They're going for the game.
Yeah.
And it was their confirmation. Kramzar came off for Gargo then. So, Everton in possession. Ball down the line from Kitagawa. Oh, Nella Vignola holding it up. And losing out, but we'll battle away for it. And that comes off Vignola. Out for an Arsenal throw. Holmberg has options down the line. Goes back to Ruben Moy. Now Borba. Exchanging with Ruben Moy. Borba looking to the left-hand side. Plays it to Cadena. Well, we'd love to see the football, but Sky Sports was more interested in Smila Holmberg. Here is McCabe. Now Caldente. Into Smith. Cuts inside. Well, Olivia Smith looking to play the crossfield pass. Payne doesn't have to put her off initially, but she lifts it into Palova. Palova now touching wide into Smila Holmberg. Holmberg going to carry down the line. And back to Caitlin Ford. Forward through the lines, looking for Caldente, and Fernandez will see that out of play.
Really good defending from Fernandez. Just trapped the run of Caldente and saw it out very nicely. Everton not keen to get on with this. Understandably so. They're 25 minutes away from a very important point. Well, a big point.
Yeah, I mean, it would be decent for their season. It puts them still within a chance of catching London City. And while they are a little bit behind on goal difference, you think that wouldn't be an issue with Leicester coming up. They can make up a 4-goal difference swing, you would think. So, yeah, there's every chance they could still finish this season in 7th place, which would feel ridiculous considering how the first half of the season, and to be fair, how their performances in the second half of the season have been. But they have been able to get some big results at times. Cadena into Caldente, and now Marnham. I mean, it was only fairly recently, right? They got their first win at Goodison Park of the season. Here's Holmberg carrying forwards, has options around her. Good defending from Kitagawa. It's going to spill out to Victoria Palova now, who tries to find Smith and does find Olivia Smith. Smith with the ball across towards the back post. Holmberg touching it down, and Kitagawa on hand to stop it. Got to be a better ball in from Smith, though, hasn't it?
Got to be low and hard across the face of goal. You got Russo and Ford running in at the near post and the back post, and she's just fired it in the air. And Holmberg does her best to keep it alive, but that has got to be hit hard and low. And you'd have thought that one of Russo or Ford sliding in would have made contact with it and put it in the back of the net. Got to be a better ball from Smith. He's had a good second half, but just got that one slightly wrong.
Back wide to Smith on the left-hand side. Now to Caldente in the half space. And it's one back in there by Blundell. And now Payne. Cut out well by Wheeler. And here is Mace. Mace trying to lift it down the line. And now Blundell wants to play it directly in behind. And it'll run all the way through to Annika Borba. Pullover. Now Holmberg. The thought is, without Beth next year, we really need Smith to learn how to cross and create chances. Yeah, I have to say, I think with a lot of Arsenal's rumours, the thing that I keep seeing is, or the thing that I see they're lacking is, where's the creativity? Unless Canate is going to play hard at the pitch next season, they're looking to bring in a lot of goal scorers, a lot of good finishers. You know, you look at like Cecilina Cersei, you look at Geraldine Reuteler, really good goal scorers, really good finishers, but who's going to create the chances?
Yeah.
Here is Smith. Going inside and out. Blundell stands her up well and I think uses the right amount of force there on Smith and wins back the ball, clearing out the line. And here's Caldente now in midfield. Wubben Moy into Cadena. McCabe. Back to Cadena. Caldente tries to play it forwards. It's intercepted though, and a foul. I don't think Everton wanted that. Don't think they want the free kick in that position. They had numbers committing forwards there.
Yeah.
They'll be able to gain some territory though.
There you go.
I don't think there's too much wrong in that from Blundell. What are you thinking?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing in it. I don't really know what the argument is. No foot contact whatsoever. Smith falls over.
One hand on the back. It's nowhere near enough force to send her down like that.
There's a lot of slow-mos and still images going on for instance tonight that are just clear-cut.
And then we still haven't had a replay of when McCabe brought down Tony Payne.
Yeah.
It's just weird from Sky Sports. That's all. It's just weird. But yeah. Arsenal now throwing back to Wubben Moy. Now, Phil says, I would love her to stop diving too. It's embarrassing at times. She does go down very easily. And I think, very intelligent players go down easily, right? But I do think Smith makes it too obvious a lot of the time. And I think it's a shame he doesn't get punished because it should be yellow card offence, right?
Yeah. And then it stops her doing it. But I think it's also one of those where, because of the type of player, she's also quite a physical player, which I think that she should then, with her physicality, should lean into the Lauren James element of the fact that some have that ability where players just can't get the ball off you. Use your body to get in between the players and the ball and beat them doing that, rather than trying to take them on and then falling over. Especially when you are more of a physical player, you're even less likely to get those opportunities when you do go down too easily.
Yeah, I think it's harsh to compare it to a bit of a unicorn.
Yeah.
Lauren James,
I mean,
but, yeah.
not the. I'm not asking her to run the length, run 40 yards of the ball at her feet and get a pre-assist.
Carry it everywhere.
But I think she should use her physicality more, rather than trying to be the one that, rather than trying to win things by going down too easily. I think she should go the other way and be the aggressive one.
I guess it's kind of the thing as well that you learn to do at a smaller club. If you're getting a lot of the ball and you're not getting many chances, if you get the ball and you get into that kind of position, you're going to try and win a penalty. You're going to try and win something in a decent position. No, I think of the best comparison I can make is like Jack Grealish in the men's game. It was great at drawing fouls at Aston Villa because they were often very scrappy games that needed that moment where they just kind of get something. Here is Fernandes. But at Arsenal, you don't need to do that. This Arsenal team tonight have had 66% of possession. Well, change coming for Arsenal. Can this be the instigator? Sina Blackstenius set to come on. That's the most goals a sub in WSL history. It's probably why I keep predicting her to score every time Arsenal play, and she's on the bench. Brosnan trying to play the pass out. It's picked off by Caitlin Ford, who's carrying forwards. Could she take aim? Gives it to Holmberg. Back in towards the pouch area. Blocked, though, by Fernandes. Here's Marnham. Looking for Caldente. Wheeler jumping past Caldente. Pull over in the box. Now Ford. Caldente. And, well, Everton players clearing it into each other there, but it is eventually hooked away. And they'll run through to Wubben Moy.
Someone's got to shoot. It is so frustrating. There are way too many passes in there from Arsenal. It all just feels like too polite.
There's Smila Holmberg. Tries to put it into the box. It's blocked by Kitagawa, and another Arsenal corner.
No, that gets to the edge of the box. It's like, you have it. No, you have it. No, you have it. Just someone shoot.
Very British.
Yeah, it's just like Arsenal would cause so many more problems if players just hit the trigger.
Yeah, I do agree. I think a lot of the shots tonight have been erratic, or they've not taken them though. It's been a bit of an odd one.
Yeah.
You know, this second half's been a bit more clinical, but that's because they've just had less shots, not because they're being more dangerous.
Yeah.
Like 3 shots to on target in the second half. It's just not enough when you need a goal to go and win the game. But
it's incredible how it flips from the first half. It's just ridiculous.
ball floated in from McCabe and headed towards goal by Wubben-Moy, but blocked by Pacheco.
They've had a shot from a corner.
Yeah,
That's something.
that is.
Just...
Yeah, I saw. I was looking at set pieces today, and Arsenal scored 3, which accounts for 6% of their goals. Man City have scored 15, which accounts for 25% of their goals.
Staggering, but it worked. That's what it's an element of the modern game that I think clubs have got to lean into.
Yeah, Arsenal just don't have the height and don't have, I don't think, any routines on set pieces to trouble teams. Caldente, now Marnham, wide into Smith. Wants to cut inside. Olivia Smith tries to play it down the line. And it runs through to Brosnan. It's also a fun correlation between teams who are good at defending set pieces and scoring set pieces.
Yeah.
And I think in the WSL it is mainly due to height, and Arsenal just don't have anything in there. I mean, in the box, who is, other than Wubben-Moy, is challenging the ball? And because Everton know that, they're going to try and keep players close to Wubben-Moy. On that occasion, they didn't. She did really well to pull away, but she had to pull really deep into a bit of an odd position to actually get to the ball. Hayashi. Well, Kadina chases her down and commits the foul.
Don't think Gargo's touched the ball yet since she came on.
Hasn't had many touches, no.
But she's there. And that's the main thing. If they can start being a bit more direct into her.
If they get the ball in the box, there is now someone in the box.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So, Arsenal with more changes then in this, really. It's their roll of the dice, isn't it? Marnham making way. Tina Black-Stenius on then. So, Russo will drop into the 10. And Chloe Kelly replacing Olivia Smith. So they're going for this game a bit now, Arsenal. They're bringing on their attacking players. Will it be enough to get the result here?
Yeah, we hope so. I like those changes, though. Black-Stenius just to come on and stretch that Everton backline. Kelly just to carry a bit of an aerial assault. Just keep putting in crosses, putting them under pressure, which is where Everton...
She'll put balls in the right kind of area.
And that's where Everton just capitulate. Because they forget how to defend.
And to be fair, is a player who isn't afraid of taking shots from range, isn't afraid to test the keeper. While Brosnan, Brosnan's a fantastic goalkeeper. It takes a lot of shots to get past her anyway. And Arsenal have tested her 3 times in this game.
Yeah.
Ball floated over the top. Brosnan will collect. Also, another stat I was surprised to see. Courtney Brosnan, I think, if I remember correctly, has the 2nd or 3rd most acted as sweeper of any goalkeeper in the league this season, which I thought was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah.
I think it's not much to do with Everton's high line, more to do with their just defensive frailties.
Yeah.
That she doesn't trust the defenders to deal with it and just runs out and does it herself. But I thought that was a bit of an odd one. Because you'd think a lot of Phelan's game recently, Everton have played a bit deeper.
Yeah. The other problem Arsenal have got now is that Everton are now into time-wasting territory. They sense the opportunity that they can get a point from this, so now they're happy to run the clock down and make things difficult.
Yeah, a result either way is a big result for them, isn't it? A point or a win.
Yeah.
Whereas for Arsenal, a point is fine.
Yeah.
It would mean that all they've got to do is win the final match. We can hope that Chelsea don't turn around a 13-goal swing. So I reckon they'll be okay, but Chelsea have recorded big wins over United in the past. You never know. But an Everton goal, and suddenly it's in Chelsea's hands again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that much second place in the WSL, that both get Champions League football. It's just about qualifiers. And
it's nice. You want to finish, second, over third. Especially when it's between Chelsea and Arsenal.
It's more of a status thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It also means Arsenal have been runners up in consecutive years. They're starting to then build that momentum, you'd think, for a title challenge next season. Kadina. Great switch to the play to McCabe. Here's Caldente. Pull over. Now McCabe. Wide into Kelly. Ball into the box. It's headed on and it's going to fall at that pace. But Brosnan jumps out brilliantly and catches the ball.
I think the best flick on, that's one of the best flick ons we've seen tonight from Claire Wheeler.
Yeah.
Just nodding it on, taking it away from her defenders.
Arsenal's best delivery is from the head of Claire Wheeler there.
Brosnan, brilliant though.
Yeah. Yeah, usually a goalkeeper is so busy. Has had very little to do today. First says Brosnan's still so underrated. Yeah, I agree. Again, I think it's just the issue of playing in that Everton team.
Yeah, you put a good defence in front of her, and I think her clean sheet numbers would look a lot better.
Yeah. The problem is, again, you just don't see who would go for her. She's 31 now, I want to say. She's Yeah, but I mean, a classic sort of bottom half.
Oh yeah,
pushing into the top half goalkeeper is going to win you points in games. It's going to get you results at times, but it's never going to be considered for the big clubs because she's not good enough for the ball at her feet. I think she'd do a better job than either of Arsenal's goalkeepers, though. To be fair, but they are good with the ball at their feet. Yeah. So they're preferred, but Arsenal's goalkeeper situation is an odd one. I don't think rotation goalkeepers works with much success. I don't think it's ever improving to work with much success.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a theme at Arsenal for a while now. Kelly floating it in there and it's headed on and headed away actually in there. I'm not sure who got the touch. It was Blackstenius, Brosnan and Martina Fernandez who all went up for it. Fernandez is now down, holding her head. The referee does take a moment and then does blow a whistle.
Yeah, I have no idea if they contacted that. I think it might have been an amalgamation of the three of them. I think it might have. I think it may have been the head of Black. I think Blackstenius might have been the one that headed it on, and then Brosnan came through and punched a defender in the head. Interesting. Get a replay. Here we go. So was it? I think it was. Oh no, so right, Fernandez did head it away and then got clobbered over the back of the head by her own goalkeeper. And Blackstenius no.
It was Fernandez who got the touch in there. Heading it away.
That's like body on the line defending.
Yeah. Did the business there.
But suddenly there's only 10 minutes left. Everton have done brilliantly just to, since you think like those first changes when Ford came on for Arsenal, when Everton bought on Vignola and Gargo, that was nearly 20 minutes ago. And they've done well to get through that period.
Bjorn Pettersson welcome to the stream. It's difficult to make a change with only 15 minutes left. Too late. Speaking there on Arsenal's changes, obviously waiting until the 76th minute to bring on Blackstenius and Kelly. It does feel like if you wanted to win this game, you make those changes and bring them on before Caitlin Ford.
Yeah.
Box wide now with Ford. Can she change the game? It's a ball in there. And Russo runs to meet it and can't quite adjust for that one heading wide.
Should do better. Should do a lot better, Alessia Russo.
Unmarked in there.
Yeah. I don't know, did she get the timing of the run wrong or just not meet the ball well? I just got a bit.
Just misjudged. It's like there's a lot of curl on that, and it comes towards Russo a bit quicker than she's expecting, I think.
Yeah, ends up in front of it, actually, and just gets under it, and she's leaning back. You're never going to head a ball in the back of the net, leaning backwards.
Yeah. So I could clip that demonstration there. We'll put that on the socials. Brosnan launching the ball forwards. Gargo flicks on. And Pacheco flicks on. And here is Lotte Wubben-Moy. But yeah, I mean, even a draw, Arsenal should get second place.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees they beat Liverpool. But Gapfair side don't have the strongest record against the big club season. Yes, they got a draw against Chelsea. Probably deserve something from one of the games against Manchester City. But you would think Arsenal would get a result there. Make sure to find out with us or with Harry on WSL Final Day. Join us this Saturday from 12:45. I won't be here, but Harry will be here to talk through all the action on the final day. All 6 WSL games live at the same time. Should be a great day. Your focus, of course, will be on the game between Chelsea and Manchester United The big ticket game, though, neither of them with much to play. We thought it might be the battle for Champions League football, but Manchester United didn't fancy competing in that battle. Here's Fernandes. Now Hayashi trying to get away from Caldente and does so well, and then a bit clumsy between her and Alessia Russo. Hayashi overextended to move the ball away as Russo came in. I think actually a little bit fortunate there, and Fernandes has just lifted it into the middle of the pitch. Gargo dropping in to try and win the ball, and does enough there to force Kelly backwards. Here's Victoria Palova. Hayashi's still down with cramp by the looks of it. She's in some discomfort. Would have helped if Martin Fernandes had planned it out of play rather than in the middle of the pitch. Pacheco winning back the ball, and now Holmberg. And they are just playing around a stricken Hayako Hayashi. Caldente now moves to the left-hand side. McCabe to Kelly. Blundell trying to stick with a ball in there, and Brosnan claims brilliantly. Blackstone tries their best there to shove her off the ball. Brosnan's furious. Move that from Blackstenius. That will be an Everton free kick, and at long last, Hayashi might get some treatment here.
Oh, I just can't believe that. You Martina Fernandes, your central midfielder is down on the floor with cramp. You're under pressure. You're away at the Emirates. So what do? Just lift it in the middle of no man's land and gift it straight back to Arsenal. Everton will be very happy that didn't lead to them conceding. Yeah, Hayashi does it being a bit of bother here. Probably will be replaced.
End of season injuries, isn't it? 84th minute of the 21st game of the season.
Yeah. Overstretched a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think before this, I couldn't imagine there was going to be much added time.
Has the ball been out of play?
Not really.
Nothing's happened in this game. Nothing has happened. Everton haven't put a shot on target. Arsenal put 3 shots on target. 41 touches in the opposition box. It's just too conservative, too reluctant. Everton now looking to their bench. It will be Aurora Ghali to replace Hayashi.
What have they done with the other 38 touches?
3 shots from outside the box.
What are they doing?
No, I think all their shots on target, to be fair, were inside the area. But yeah,
right, come on, give us some late drama. Give us a late goal, somebody.
The problem is you're playing a side like Everton, you need to disrupt that defence.
Yeah.
But because they move it so slowly, Everton are just getting into their back line. So Arsenal can get it into the box, but rather than you getting it into the box and you have a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, a great chance to score, you get into the box and 6 Everton defenders are in front of you.
Yeah.
So you've got to try and get through all of them because you've slowed it down so much. And I mean, it feels like Gareth Taylor football, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just too slow. There's so many technically able players. People love that comparison, but I think stylistically it is very similar. And often, much like under Gareth Taylor, it just relies on someone to stick the ball in the box and then head it home, or to have a moment of individual quality. That's why they've just drawn so many games. I mean, at this moment, they're on track for their 7th draw of the season. That's a third of the campaign.
Yeah.
They have drawn. And when you consider where the difference lies between them and Manchester City, well, City have only drawn once.
Yeah.
And if you take even half of those draws and turn half of them into wins, half into losses, they'd be in the same position as City. A very similar position to City. So
Arsenal should be really frustrated. They did the hard part. They've beaten Man City this season. They've beaten Chelsea. They remained unbeaten over Chelsea across the season. Same with United.
Well, they drew with United twice, which is a big problem. In behind now for Vignola, who's bearing in on goal. Moy gets back in. Vignola with a nice turn. Now takes aim. It kicks off the defender and out for a corner. But Everton offering a late surge.
And that's exactly what we spoke about when Vignola and Gargo came on, is that they can just come up with things out of nothing. And it's a ball through from Gargo. Brilliant ball through. I mean, you'd ideally like that the other way around, really. Vignola playing Gargo, who can power through. Vignola just want to get a shot away, and that deflection, just taking it off target.
We haven't seen much of Ornella Vignola since the opening day, which has got a hat-trick in Merseyside derby. I think she scored just once since that game, much like Kiko Seke last season.
Yeah.
Came onto the scene incredibly quickly, but failed to offer much consistency. Ghali over this then. Who can she pick out in the box? in an Everton shirt. Arsenal with a set piece to defend. Then Garley lifts it in there. It's headed away by Lotte Wubben-Moy. It's going to drop for Blundell, who goes for glory. And it's not a million miles away there from Hannah Blundell. Just getting under the ball. And it goes over the bar.
Yeah. Didn't catch it nicely. Didn't blast it, but yeah, just didn't catch it in the way that she'd have wanted to.
Kelly muscled off there and now knocking the pass back to Cadena. Tries to find a pass to the left-hand side. It is out. Has that come off an Everton player or was it just straight out of play? And Arsenal are preparing Leah Williamson here. Sure.
I mean, are they worried that Everton are going to score?
I don't know. A draw is enough for Arsenal. A loss does cause big issues.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're looking at now.
At the Emirates, I don't know.
This is Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium at home to Everton, and they're subbing on a centre back so they don't lose.
Yeah.
I think that's been their problem all season. It's why they've come away from the season with no silverware.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They did have that plate, sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was for Palova or Caldente and they put Cadena in defensive midfield.
Ball down the line looking for Pacheco. We're under pressure, batting away with Maz Pacheco. Squeezes it down the line. Holmberg gets the throw in and goes back to Lotte Wubben-Moy. Blackstenius peeling off wide. Now it's to kind of back to Holmberg and Garley gets back in. Here is Vignola. He also says it's just fan service. Leah lifts the crowd. Yeah, I know. It's just I don't think you should be in a position where you're bringing someone on because she's a fan favourite. Especially a player like Williamson who doesn't need to be playing. Like I think the smartest thing for Arsenal to do when they couldn't win the league anymore was to say we're not going to play Williamson the rest of the season. And we're just going to let her rest now until pre-season and have 3 months off. Because ultimately they're going to be in the Champions League next season either way. These games don't matter too much, and her fitness is really important. 5 minutes additional time in this game. I'm not sure where they've got that from, but they do want a goal here at the Emirates. Will we find one? Kitagawa. Great pressure from Fox as it's won back there by Ruby Mace. Ball goes in behind, and Wubben-Moy will get there and knocks it to Borba. Wubben-Moy down the line for Holmberg. Lifts it into the box and it'll be cleared away. Brilliant defending from Blundell. Wide now from McCabe. Kelly lifts it in there. It's headed away. It's going to fall for Holmberg, who tries to turn it goalwards. Now for Caitlin Ford, who will take aim, and it's charged down and blocked and out for a corner. Brosnan is furious at her defence.
Brilliant reaction. Brilliant reaction, though, from Everton. Celebrating that block from Pacheco like it's a goal. It's really good from Kitagawa to deny Holmberg, and Pacheco gets across superbly to get in front of Ford's effort. But Everton are holding on for a point here. Arsenal really would prefer to get a goal. But Everton defending valiantly.
And so the Arsenal change coming. It's Cadena off and Williamson on.
And I guess you get Cadena a standing ovation in her last game, which they did for me, but they haven't done that for Palova.
Not many people are standing.
No.
For her. They're standing for Williamson. And they're standing because there's a corner at this end. Will they score it is the question. Ball floated in and Brosnan punching it away. Garley makes a mess of it. Kelly now in to score. It's blocked. And here's Caldente. I mean, there was a foul on Brosnan as well. Ball into the area. A chance now. It's nodded on and it will go for another Arsenal corner.
That looked like a stroke of genius if Williamson had come on ahead to that home. I cannot understand why Aurora Garley decided to toe punt it back towards the penalty spot in her own box at this point in the game. But Arsenal got away with it. Sorry, Everton got away with it. Arsenal, though, keeping the pressure on with this corner. Massive couple of minutes. Can they nick a late goal?
Can they find a late winner? Holmberg. Delivers into the box. It's nodded away. Now with Caitlin Ford. Floated in, nodded on. Can Williamson get there? Is that a foul on the keeper? It looks like it. But Blackstenius scores. And it's not going to be given. And Arsenal have a late winner here at the Emirates. A big goal from Blackstenius. Not without controversy. Was there a foul on Brosnan there? It wasn't given. And it will be an Arsenal winner. They haven't played particularly well tonight, but Blackstenius does come off the bench and does get a goal.
Later than never for Arsenal. They've huffed and puffed tonight. But they've finally found a way past quality Brosnan. I mean, it helped that she was lying face down on the floor. Everton not happy, and Brosnan does look to be in quite a bit of discomfort here. Need another look back on that. But Arsenal have a winner. That's what matters. But I'd love to have a look back at that one. There definitely was a collision in there between Brosnan and an Arsenal player.
I mean, the ball's put back in by Ford. I mean, there's no real question over offside.
Yeah, so William Moy's offside. And she's the one who flicks it on.
Oh, so she was on offside. I mean, that looks a fairly obvious foul on Brosnan.
I'd like another look. I don't see it. William Moy flicks it off. That was a tight offside.
Williamson doesn't get anywhere near the ball. Brosnan punched it clear, and then Williamson...
Yeah. Brosnan comes, gets a hand to it. Williamson
clatters into her. That is an obvious foul.
Oh, I'm surprised that's not been given.
There we go. Because there's not a foul there, won the header. She was nowhere near the ball.
Yeah, she didn't get the ball. Brosnan got there first. Brosnan got the hand to it.
Yeah.
It's a shame for Everton to lose the point like that. And it's a very anticlimactic way for Arsenal to win the game.
Yeah, bit of an odd one because it looked like Moy may have been offside, then it looked like Williamson fouled the goalkeeper, but obviously VAR not in the women's game. But is the offside flag up?
No,
it looked weird the way they were going about it, but there we go. Well, Arsenal are going to win this game somehow.
What a bizarre game.
Wheeler tries to play it forwards, cut out by Caldente. Wheeler now. Trying to carry inside. It's one back. Got to feel for Everton. I haven't done much wrong in this game. And, wow. A big goal and a big moment there. It won't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but may have an impact on second and third place. And again, I don't really know how the officials haven't given that. But there we go. Throwing now for Arsenal. Going to go down the line. It's headed away by Martina Fernandez. McKay smashes into midfield. Russo knocks it wide. Ford playing in behind, looking for Blackstenius. And Mace will get back in there. And now with Martina Fernandez, can Everton move the ball quickly here and try and find an equaliser. And Moontrip says, why is the goal standing? The referees on field did not give the decision. Obviously, we don't have video assistant referee. Despite the fact there was two possible infractions in there, neither the referee or assistant referee decided to give anything in there. And Kelly will hold the ball in the corner as Arsenal will see out a win.
I think everyone is going to be happy to see the end of this evening.
Yeah, it's been a really poor performance from both teams, really. But I think a 0-0 draw would have been a very fair result.
It was the perfect 0-0 game. Neither side really didn't have to score.
No, Arsenal had the ball in the back of the net twice. One was offside, the other probably shouldn't have stood. But it has stood, and it will be a big 3 points for Arsenal. They'll put them up to second place. Blundell. Garley down the line. Caldente now to Russo. Here's Caldente. Switching the play towards Holmberg. Williamson will pick up the ball. And down the line into Ford. Holmberg. Batting away. Pacheco trying to get back possession. Kitagawa poking it away and out for an Arsenal throw-in.
I did not think at any point tonight we'd be sat here with Arsenal taking the ball to the corner in 98 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that sums up this evening and the football game that has happened here.
And that is full time here at the Emirates. Well, Renee Slegers doesn't even celebrate. I don't think she's particularly happy with what she's just watched for 90 minutes. But Arsenal with a big 3 points here. And, well, you can argue whether it was merited or not. The goal, shrouded in controversy, but a big goal. Blackstone is coming off the bench to score once again. And that all but confirms Arsenal to finish second place in the league. All they need is a point, realistically, against Liverpool to finish second and put themselves automatically into the Champions League next season.
Not pretty. Not a pretty game of football. I don't...
They took four shots on target, were pretty poor to watch, and then scored by fouling the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Everton defended somewhat valiantly, although they didn't really have too much to defend. When they did, there were some unconvincing moments in there. Didn't really come forwards. Courtney Brosnan's got a lot of words for the referee.
Understandably.
I mean, very intrigued to see how this ends. I'm just looks be a decent conversation. Brosnan's going to do the right thing and walk off.
Yeah, I mean, understandably there, Courtney Brosnan can't believe that wasn't given as a foul on the goalkeeper because it was quite a blatant foul on Courtney Brosnan there.
Yeah, I think she'll be frustrated. And now Brosnan and McCabe have got a few...
The two Irish, of course. I think it's McCabe trying to calm Courtney Brosnan. Brosnan's still furious, though.
I say it looked like a really they're trying to be really friendly because of course they get on, but also Brosnan's fuming.
Yeah,
difficult one.
Jennifer says something needs to be done about the officiating. Got to say this year has had many bad calls. Yeah, and I don't think VAR's the answer. I think it's just that referees have to be trained to a higher standard. Referees shouldn't make mistakes like that. Like if it's a tight offside or something, you can understand it, but there's too many. It means every week we talk about a referee decision which shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And of course VAR comes in and solves that, but it also slows the game down. It's got so many negative effects that it doesn't feel worth it. It's also very difficult to implement while most teams aren't playing at big enough grounds yet.
Yeah. It's one of those where VAR in its concept is exactly what the women's game needs. It needs a review system to cut out clear and obvious errors. And we don't want
it. The League Ref have it as a review system, don't they?
Yeah, which I quite like, to be fair, because it means that it's not the officials. You know, if it ends up being a nitpicky decision, but the team spotted it, then that's fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a strong argument that Ruben Moyes is offside. It's a tight one, and fair enough. The assistant referee, half the time she gives it, half the time she doesn't. But yeah, flicks on here. Ruben Moyes and Brosnan contest for it, and the problem is it's Brosnan's momentum because she jumps forwards, but they crash into each other. Yeah, it's a foul. It's a foul. And it's not. It's one of those where it's okay to call it. Williamson hasn't gone smashing in there, and that's fine. But it's one of those where you don't. It's still a foul, and I think that's the problem. Is that a lot of people will look at that and say that
Brosnan's run into it. But even so, we can't have a world where the players just run and hope the goalkeeper crashes into them because then the goalkeeper can't challenge for the ball.
When if a collision happens, the offender is always the one who didn't get the ball or got there second, and Brosnan gets there first, gets a hand to the ball. Yeah, it's an unfortunate one, but I think Everton will feel hard done by, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Is that they're errors that shouldn't be happening. You don't mind the half and half ones where it could have gone either way. Maybe sometimes you get decisions where you look back on it and go, okay, maybe that should have been this, maybe that should have been that. But you can see why Pittle missed it. That's too big for me to be missed.
Yeah, Anton says, would VAR have overturned? You never know, do you? It's probably at the wrong end to be overturned, but you never. I think it should have been, obviously, but it's a massive problem. Because there's even differences in how VAR is used across the Women's Champions League. The way it's been implemented is so different to the way it is in the men's game, and it's. I also don't. There's so many decisions in the Women's Champions League that were missed this season, even with VAR.
Yeah,
like when Heaps was blatantly bundled over in the penalty area and
taken out in the Wolfsburg game.
Yeah, It's just like, how on earth is that not being checked or being given as a penalty? There's been a load of decisions like that this season. So I don't think VAR just immediately comes and sorts things out. I think even if you have a certain implementation of, you check, offsides are automatically done, and goal line technology, that solves a lot of the issues. But there's still big calls that referees are going to get wrong, and you have to accept some margin of error. But things as blatant as that.
Yeah, goal line technology I think is the big one. That should be necessary for any professional football league anywhere in the world, because I mean some of the ones Everton, Chelsea. You had there's some have had some really random calls on that, but yeah, something's got to be done about it, because it just games like this, at the end of the day, a point would have been, it's not going to change too much, but it's the big games. You look at the Chelsea Arsenal at the Emirates was completely ruined. No one spoke about the game because it was just a cluster of refereeing decisions.
It just feels like there's been too many games like that this season where we talk about the officiating rather than the game of football. Tonight, particularly, obviously, because nothing happened in the game of football.
Yeah.
So the only thing to talk about is the officiating. But I think it has been a problem throughout this season, and it's something that we haven't seen addressed. And there's so much talk about, we want to elevate and progress and around the women's game, and so many of these buzzwords. But can we have better standard officiating, please?
Yeah.
This is professional sport, and it feels like every week there's at least one hugely contentious call, which when you watch it back looks blindingly obvious.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been a massive issue this season in so many games. I mean, something we'll talk about another time, really. But that is a big 3 points for Arsenal. They move up to second in the league now. And, as long as they get some sort of result against Liverpool and Chelsea, don't turn around a 14-goal difference, don't swing that 14-goal difference, then they'll be second place in the WSL this season. That, though, is everything from us today. We've got another video dropping on Friday. But if you haven't already, go and check out the video that we put out today. I spoke about Brighton and their great form at the end of this season and what they're doing differently tactically recently. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. If not, look out for Friday's video. We'll be talking about the WSL champions Manchester City. So look out for that analysis. And, of course, join Harry back here on Saturday for the WSL final day. We're here at last, the second year in a row I've missed WSL final day, but that is an unfortunate situation. But there we go. That, though, is everything from us today. Thank you everyone that has tuned in throughout this season. If you are new and haven't yet hit subscribe, make sure to do so. We're closing in on 10,000. We're probably not going to hit it by the end of May now, but you never know. If you do subscribe, you might just help us towards that incredible goal. That, though, is everything. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.